of April. The last Monday for the month of April. It is indeed. Imagine that. April has come and gone. It is the 114th day for the year 2023. Of course, on the Paul Breakfast Show this morning, full cast in. We just heard from Paul Richards with our news brief. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragobarsingh. Ruben is in the mix. And of course, my name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. It is 7 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. Alrighty. But quickly, let's take a look what's happening. Let's see what's happening in the traffic situation as you make your way out. Most of you all took Friday off. A lot of people had Friday off. We did not. Approaching Piaco Lights from Maloney, you've got traffic. Trinidad City towards Huey, also a bit heavy. Paget Road is also a bit heavy. Going through Takarigo and Macoya and through St. Augustine. Also got some Kelly Village, but volume from the interchange into Port of Spain, and then you'll get you a little bit of traffic. All right, beginning to build out of Maraval. Let's take a look what's happening down south. Make our way up north. Nothing really to tell you about in San Fernando. The solo is pretty clear. You will get some traffic from Chase Village towards Chicagones, and then from Chicagones, toward the interchange, you've got some. Let's see who sent us hellos on this Monday morning. Let's see. First off the gate this morning, Ken E. Good morning to you. Oliver Man Warren, Trevor Narima, God Celia, Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Miss Ingrid, Tucson, Arizona. New York, we've got CJ. We got Mo Gaines out in Aruca. In Tampa, we got DJ Ray. Carol Guevara, Ms. Maloney. Have a fantastic week ahead. CCJ, good morning with a smile. Good morning, CCJ. Haven't heard from you from a while. Rena Boodoo Jennings, good morning to you as well. All right. It is, let's see, taking a look at the Thames. It is 25 degrees at Crown Point in Tobago, 26 at Crown Point, at Piaco International Airport. And what's the weather going to be like? What does the people at the Met Office says? Today, I loved yesterday. Yesterday was nice. Today is going to be mostly fair and hazy, except for some isolated showers. Maximum forecast temperature for both islands will be 30 degrees. All right, so it shouldn't be too bad. And finally, taking some temps across our listenership. Let's see what's happening. Toronto, you're sitting at 3 degrees. Ugh, I tell you. Miami, 23. Orlando, 21. New York, you're at 7. Atlanta, you're at 10. London, 11. Tampa, 20. And Washington, D.C., you're at 6 degrees. All right. Good morning to you, Paul Richards.
Morning, Steve. Morning, Wendell.
Yeah, morning, gentlemen. Paul, you have to find a way to do the weather report up on the screen too for Steve.
What work you want me to do?
Plenty.
You got that in stereo.
Gosh.
You see, I tried to look this morning. I tried to look breakfasty this morning. I just had a nice starch, man.
Is a vest you have on there?
Yeah. Is that
You're looking for client side?
Is that baking protocol?
No, you're looking for client side.
For who?
Clients.
Oh no, I just like wearing vests, especially these types of vests. You know, I just enjoy it. And I thought, maybe let me try it this morning. So I'm actually in St. James, and I'm in St. James. For the first time I'm doing this program in St. James for a very long time. I haven't been to St. James this early for a long time.
Oh yeah, when you went scouting. You went scouting for talent.
From Central, I came here.
Okay, well, you went scouting for talent.
Yeah. I came
Wow.
here.
Maria Marva, good morning to you as well.
Let me say happy birthday early o'clock
Oh gosh, I have some
To
birthdays.
Gail Logan, Vincent Paul, Sam Saldina, he lives abroad. Uh, Sherry-Ann Bertrand, you remember Sherry-Ann?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, who could
Yeah.
forget?
Noel Gale, who is the husband of Pancetta Gale, that's Patrick Manning's sister. Happy birthday, Noel Gale. And of course, our very own Corey Pascal.
Yeah,
Corey Pascal is celebrating his birthday today, too.
Happy birthday,
yeah.
Corey.
Prem
Yeah.
Kasoon used to work with us as well. It's his birthday. Um, George Singh, yeah, it's his birthday as well. And my very good friend, Moses Rambly. Yeah, morning, Moses. Happy birthday. Give you a call later.
All right.
Have a good one.
Today is, of course, Monday, April 24th. And let me also take this opportunity to express condolences to one of our very ardent listeners and callers. He calls in the program regularly. He listens all the time. He contributes continuously. And he lost his father over the weekend. His father, the very venerable and very popular George Umbala Joseph.
Hmm.
So condolences to the Joseph family, Mr. Anthony Joseph in particular, who I said is a very heavy contributor to our program. I've never identified him when he called in as George Umbala's son, but he calls in almost every day. And on a regular basis, he contributes to our program. So condolences to the Umbala family. And the
Yeah.
story that I read, because Mr. Joseph sent it to me yesterday, about the circumstances surrounding the passing of George Umbala Joseph. He wasn't well. He went to the St. James Medical Complex to get treatment, and he was left in a tent, I think, for 4 days
Yeah, I
before the
read that.
COVID test, for the COVID test. They have to do a COVID test and so on. And he actually did an interview from under one of those tents, on the Tuesday before his passing. It just reeks of such. When are we going to get this correct? I don't know.
I'm not surprised because
I am not
my
surprised.
brother-in-law, my sister's husband, who's elderly also, took an ill for a while and was taken to St. James Hospital. And he had the same fate under the hospital for 3 days or 2 days because that's the COVID protocol.
Yeah,
How your COVID protocol could be to leave elderly people under a tent in the open?
Yeah,
yeah.
for 3, 4
How
days.
how that could be the protocol? And it was confirmed by the CEO of the NWCRHA that
Yeah,
is the protocol. That
yeah,
is your protocol.
yeah.
Your protocol, I understand in the height of the pandemic when the system was overloaded and stuff like that, but that is your protocol
Yeah,
in
still.
2023? Yeah,
Yes,
man. Nah,
yes. That's
No,
sorry.
nah, man.
the
That's
minister
something
of
else.
health will come on and say everything is running nicely, and you don't have to do this. But when you're on the ground and people have to do it
Under
and
a
go through
tent?
this,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't
What
hear
kind of
about
medical
that.
attention you could get under a tent?
yeah. It is just so
And when I
sad.
heard that, I just said, you know what? I was just like, wow, this is where we
Yeah.
are. This is where we are.
And strange. I think the articles pointed that he tested negative at the end of the day. No.
No, I have no problem with them having a protocol. You don't want to infect people in the hospital with COVID, but you
Right.
have a separate ward and you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Tent,
Yeah.
the tent is the ward,
Yeah. Yeah. That can be right.
but it is.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you know
my
what it is. That's our idea of first of developing country healthcare in this
yeah.
context. It's ridiculous.
But
Hmm.
I have had a similar story. I don't know if I actually told the story in its entirety when it happened, but it was in the height of the lockdown still, when my first wife, my children's mom, um, passed away under the tent at Port of Spain General
Many,
Hospital.
many people. Many,
Hmm.
She
many
died
people.
right there in the tent.
Many, many.
And
And
was
almost every
and
tent
was
was
COVID negative.
the,
Was
the tent
also
was the
COVID
waiting period
negative.
for death.
Yeah,
Many,
it's
many
just
people. And as I
yeah.
said, I could understand during the height of the pandemic where it was really tough. Hospital capacity was 90 something percent. The place was being overburdened. It was really a dicey time. But now,
Yeah.
in, on the, in April 2023,
Yeah.
when things are supposedly getting back to normal, that is St. James Protocol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sexy
And
San Fernando saying, but how is this possible?
yeah,
When it happened.
I don't get it. I can't accept that as the appropriate or standard of care people should be getting. I no. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's share some good news. Nicholas Paul is continuing to do us proud.
Yes, he is.
The cyclist.
Cyclist. Yes.
But Richard shared this with me last night. And in addition to Nicholas Paul doing very well, I mean, this is going to make you scream with laughter. It's about a minute and a half, so just take it in. And when you hear it, it is going to put a smile and a laugh in the deepest recesses of your bowels.
Down to. This is the second ride-off between Nicholas Paul of Trinidad and Tobago and Matthias Roux, UCI Nations Cup final. Nicholas Paul won the first ride-off. If he wins this, he wins the gold medal at the UCI Nations Cup here in Canada. Nicholas Paul of Trinidad and Tobago, only his second competitive meet after that awful accident last year, just before the World Championships. Matthias Roux of Poland will have other ideas. He'll want to win this and force a decider. Nicholas Paul remains focused, gets himself ready, pounds his chest, makes the sign of the cross, acknowledges what this means. So Nicholas Paul on the top of the embankment, Matthias Roux lower, and he starts off in the lead, Matthias Roux. What will he do this time? He tried to poach a lead in the first ride-off. Nicholas Paul cruised past him, cruised to the line. So let's watch Matthias Roux of Poland in the lead by about 4 bicycle lengths from Nicholas Paul, who is behind him and staring directly at him with 3 laps to go. Matthias Roux low on the embankment, eases himself up a little bit. Paul then glides up on the outside with 3 laps to go. What does Paul do? What does Matthias Roux do? Matthias Roux needs to win this to force a decider. Paul content to just wait on him, knowing his speed that he has. Still Nicholas Paul high on the embankment, but Matthias Roux with the lead. Maybe about 5, 6 bicycle lengths a little bit now. Begins to just move a little bit faster. Still 3 laps to go. They're approaching the signal for 2 laps. And Matthias Roux of Poland leads from Nicholas Paul. Nicholas Paul low on the embankment. Matthias Roux goes a little bit high. Nicholas Paul goes high too as well. This is with 2 laps to go. This is where Matthias Roux wants to make his run. Paul high on the embankment. Matthias Roux leads Paul by about 4 bicycle lengths. 2 laps to go. Paul begins to make his stride. They've got 1 lap to go in this UCI final. Here comes Nicholas Paul. Matthias Roux. Nicholas Paul comes on the outside of Matthias Roux and says to Matthias Roux, ride me. Nicholas Paul and Matthias Roux. Nicholas Paul gold medal. And gold medal for Trinidad and Tobago. Nicholas Paul, another compelling victory by this young Trinidad and Tobago athlete here. Nicholas Paul is back, and the world can know it now. He is back, and back for certain here. Wherever you're from, whether you're from Port of Spain, whether you're from St. Joseph, whether you're from Las Lomas, Arima, whether you're from Princess Town, whether you're...
As only Andre Errol Batiste can.
I will tell you that. That is not a
I
problem.
could not stop laughing.
Yeah, well, that's how he gets. He's been
And
like
How you
that.
just get
consistent.
what you just put a close spin on your anyway. Oh, you just get up there.
Andre is gonna have serious vocal problems when he gets older.
No, I don't
Andre,
think so.
But when he used to work with us and we
He
used
done
to
all
do
already.
football, it used to be the same thing.
Oh my God.
His voice just goes up.
To me, that was the funniest thing. I don't know. What is that? Why you have to sound like that?
yeah, well, you should hear him when he does an athletic race, when he does a sprint.
Well, I guess it's better than Ruskin.
Oh,
Nicholas
gosh.
Paul won the race.
Well, the others yawn. Andre really gives a lot of excitement to sports commentary. He does all the time, all the time.
Well,
All
I
the
don't know, no? But that was the funniest thing to listen to. I guess it's entertainment in and of itself. Let's say good morning to our viewers on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Amazon Live. Of course, we go from 6 to 8 every morning, Monday to Friday, on streaming on these services. I have some more videos to share with you all. You know, just I don't know. Did you all see? Well, you all would have heard about the car crash in Tobago last week.
Car
The car
crash.
that veered off the road and ended up in the store. I think 5 people were sadly injured.
In
You know,
Tobago, in
You mean
Tunapuna.
in
tuna
Tunapuna,
tuna
sorry, there's in
Friday?
Tobago, in Tunapuna, sorry.
Yeah,
Tunapuna, yeah.
that happened
You know,
before around before
and if you're
11
looking at the
o'clock.
screen, you know, those of you
Yeah.
who are looking at us,
Yeah.
there's no audio to cover the audio, but I mean, looking at a camera from inside the store on the Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna, and it's amazing how look at this car just careens into
They,
the street.
they said it was a lady driver, and she was trying to make a U-turn or turn on the road, and they say she just careened exactly through the doorway of the store because the doorway nothing was affected, you know. She just went straight down the middle of the store,
But nothing in
almost
the store was
perfect.
affected, but 5 people were injured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Luckily, no one passed. No one died.
yeah. No one
But
got serious
that's
injuries
just
apparently. Yeah,
absolutely crazy to me.
yeah. All 6 people they say were taken to the hospital, but no
Yeah,
one
because I
suffered
mean,
serious.
if you look at the car just
Yeah.
bolting inside the store, I don't know. That is like the craziest thing to me. You know,
Yeah.
they said she was trying to do what?
Make a U-turn.
What onto the bus route?
I don't know where, but on the main road there is so busy all the time.
Yeah, boy.
You know, something happened where she just put her foot on the accelerator instead of the brakes.
Clearly,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because the story didn't indicate that she suffered any seizure or anything like that.
no, it
They
didn't.
said she just careened straight, almost exact through the doorway. Because I
Yeah,
actually
that is.
passed the day I actually passed on Saturday, you know. I passed there Saturday looking to see where, and I didn't see anything. It's only after I read the story where she went exactly through the doorway, so it didn't hit anything.
Yeah,
You know, she didn't hit any structure. She hit people.
that is like crazy to me. And then look at this. This is Los Eros.
Sagasa.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, when I drove up Toko about a month ago, it was bad too.
I mean, the whole expanse of the beach is covered by sargassum seaweed. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and they still have not found a good purpose for this thing, eh?
Well, you know, I
They
think
said it's just a plan.
anywhere else in the world, they would have been making money off of that.
Yeah.
Whether they could mix it with some kind of thing to make manure or soil or
Yeah.
pesticide or
I think in Barbados they were collecting and making fertilizer.
fertilizer or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could make fertilizer or something with that
I'm sure.
and export. Make the things that you know, it's like how when we discovered natural gas as a byproduct of oil.
Yeah.
And fuel and literally fuel the country economically for the last couple of decades now. So I don't know. Anyway, those are some of the videos we want to share with you. I have a crazy video I want to share. People are crazy in this way, but I'll share that later on this morning. Dr. Rowley took to his Facebook page yesterday, the Prime Minister, giving a tongue lashing to Chief Secretary Fadi Augustine and his colleagues at the Assembly, saying that they're making a mockery of the Assembly. He referenced Fadi Augustine's the issue with Mr. Augustine's wife and the licensing officials, where Mr. Augustine said that they were targeting Tobago when it's a routine traffic. It seemed to have been precipitated by the traffic stop on his wife asking for her license, because I didn't hear him make a comment about licensing officers in Tobago before that.
Yeah.
Almost suggesting that what about them a wife for? That's my interpretation of it. It may not be that. And also some misinterpretation of the EMA Act, and like not seemingly in full control of governance kind of thing. He also, Dr. Rowley also said that, quote, the business of the executive of the Tobago House of Assembly has ended up in the hands of a self-serving group of independents who, while under no legal requirement to resign their positions, have no mandate from the people of Tobago. He said they should make arrangements for an early election. But that's not going to happen.
No.
But from my following Dr. Rowley's career, he doesn't make statements like that just so. Clearly, the PNM is starting to campaign in Tobago.
Yeah.
That is a signal that the PNM is starting to campaign from as early as now in Tobago.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, campaign generally, based on Richie Sukai's comment last week that he's ready to run for the Tobago in Chaguanas.
Well, let me for the PNM. But
Which,
let me
and Richie Sukai is not going to make a public statement like that just so.
Well, I'm glad you raised that, Paul. You know why? It couldn't escape me that the two Chaguanas MPs for Chaguanas East and Chaguanas West held the press conference for the UNC yesterday. That didn't escape me. Dinesh Rambali and Vandana Mohit, who has never appeared on one of those conferences, right? Both of them appeared yesterday on the Sunday conference for the UNC. That didn't escape me. Because I think, and that signals to me, and I'm just observing it, this is just my opinion, that they are concerned about Rishi Sukai's presence in Chaguanas.
Well, I don't know that they're concerned, but clearly they realize that the election bell has rung.
Yeah.
Because Rishi Sukai is not, as a real newcomer, is not going to make a public statement. Remember what we had to drag it out of Clarence Chambarat?
Yes.
After months.
Yes.
And this is closer to the election last time. We had to literally, because they don't make public statements about their eligibility for candidacy without the authorization of the boss.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Correct.
And Rishi Sukai, from the time he was made a senator, and then shortly thereafter a minister in the Ministry of Works, clearly his profile has been raised deliberately.
Yes.
And then he made that comment about be ready to run for the PNM. It means that and then Dr. Rowley's statements about the assembly in Tobago now. Clearly, the PNM is starting, and the road paving and the. You understand?
Which is why I draw the link straight to the two Chaguanas MPs appearing on the conference yesterday.
But in politics, I mean, they have to respond.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're right. You know, in a way, you're right. I don't know about concern, but they can't sit down and just pretend it's not happening.
Well, Rishi Sukai, I mean, Chaguanas West, in my opinion, can be won, right? They always say
Is that the one that Jack won years ago?
Yeah, Jack won as independent. But
after he resigned from the UNC, after being fired as Minister of National Security, or resigning, it could be one of the two, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And ran as an independent, but closely associated with the UNC still.
Right. So we knew Jack Warner was a blip on that Chaguanas.
Jack Warner is an anomaly. It's different.
Yes.
Not everybody's Jack Warner.
Yeah. There's no other Jack Warner. But to see Vandana Mohit and Dinesh Rambali come last evening to do the press conference for the UNC signals to me, I don't know if it signals to anybody else, signals to me that they are gearing up for that battle then, from Rishi Sukai and the PM. Yeah.
I don't think Dr. Rowley made that statement about the assembly just like that. But he had stayed away from pretty much commenting on anything in the assembly, though there was much going on. The whole
he left it alone.
Resignation from the PDP, the whole what's new Kizelle Jackson, you understand? Generally not commenting. And now being very pointed in that Facebook page over the weekend about what he describes, I'm paraphrasing here, about the lack of proper governance.
Yeah. And he basically calling on them to call an election. That's what he did. And Faith B as well has responded. She responded last night on the news. I don't know if it's in the newspaper.
Well, there's a lot of calls for election across the floors.
Yeah, but she has responded. She responded in the
absence. There's call for election from the UNC to the PNM. There's call to election from there's call election all over the place. You understand?
We have a local followed by a THA, followed by a general, So
I guess that's why. Morning, Richard.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
What filter is that? You look so young this morning. Or is it
What's
sleep?
that? What?
You look younger this morning for some reason.
It's called he got sleep. Well, I'm not too sure.
He had a weekend free, not so? He didn't have any plays this weekend.
This weekend I don't have a
You
play.
think you rested this weekend?
Yeah, because I didn't have a play doesn't mean my weekend is free.
No, but at least it's more restful than
I've got
normal.
other things going on. But this weekend we are on, yes, with this little piggy is tired at Cipriani College. If that's what you're inquiring
Well,
about.
yeah, I was inquiring, yes. I was curious as to when it's coming in.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's
I was
on this
clearly,
weekend,
I'm clearly
Saturday at
inquiring.
8:30 and Sunday at 6:30.
Well,
Just in case you want to know.
I can tell you, all your special reserve tickets for Saturday sold out by Rumbox already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I should get you some more then.
Well, yeah, if you want, because I'm sure people are going to be coming this week.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I don't know what you all are talking about. I went to Price Mart yesterday. This is just absolutely very
What
light
time
conversation.
yesterday?
Light conversation. I went about maybe around 3, a little after 3.
So you would have gotten there just as I was leaving?
Yeah, around 3 after 3. And I must say that Western people, I'm calling it Western people and Port of Spain environs people who go to that Price Mart, you all are absolutely indisciplined and you have no comparison to the Eastern visitors to Price Mart in Mausica Road in East Trinidad, where the people are much more disciplined about putting back their trolleys.
Trolleys.
Western
Oh,
Trinidad, you all are terrible at putting back trolleys. There were
I
about,
actually walk and go and put it back in the area where it's supposed to be.
there are about 5 parking spots when there yesterday. I
Yeah,
could
and
not
I will
drive
tell you
into.
why. It's
And you
very
just leave the
dangerous.
cart anywhere, you know,
It's
anywhere.
dangerous to leave a trolley just there because it sometimes rolls back into the roadway, into the pathway of cars. And I don't know why people just take 30 seconds or 45 seconds, walk back to the area and put it back.
I just put it back.
It's
Yeah.
called
And you don't
manner.
even have to walk back to the general, the
And
main
I'm just
building,
saying,
because the
wow.
areas in the car park designated for trolleys.
It was terrible. I mean, and there was so many spots you just couldn't park because people would just they discarded their trolleys. And I said, it is not like this in Mausica.
No.
People
But so
generally
you
walk
went to
and put
see-
back their trolleys wherever they are.
You
So
went to
Western
Forest Green
Trinidad
Price
try and get a
Mart.
little bit more disciplined about how you put back your trolleys.
Okay.
Just
I
suggest.
went to Mausica Price Mart. I thought you were in Mausica. It's Port of Spain Price
Oh
Mart.
no, it's Port of Spain Price Mart. I went.
Oh no, it's Mausica.
I was in Port of
Mausica.
Spain because you see, I had a rehearsal.
They just need to leave the carts anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Any grocery. Just, I don't know.
Now, I mean, you may have the odd cart sometimes to move, but no, this was ridiculous.
Probably
Just
running from the
that.
hustlers.
Huh?
They're running from the hustlers. The people who always hustling in that car. That particular car park of Price
Well,
Mart.
nobody hustled me yesterday. I didn't see any hustlers.
Eh? They
They
must
probably
do
don't come out
something
on a
about them.
Sunday.
They must have done something about them because there are plenty in that Port of Spain area.
Oh, I don't know anything. I didn't meet anybody hustling anything. Maybe it's not a Sunday thing.
Probably. Maybe.
There was also over the weekend an interesting missive penned, well, under the letterhead of the Judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago, clearly countering the comments from Justice Frank C. Prasad about whether or not he thought that the Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, should have questioned his reason for wanting to visit the prisons, albeit while getting information about, I think, how much the sentence, what the judgment should be regarding a case that's before him. And the judiciary literally put out a missive stating that, well, he's wrong.
You should read it to know. You should read it to know, Paul.
So,
I think
I'm
you should
for
read
that.
it.
I'm
Because
looking for that now, just now.
yeah, when you sent it for me, I might be able to find it. When I read it, I said, "Oh, Bacchanal."
Well, right, let me read it for you.
Well, you know, the
Right.
judiciary doesn't really
It is
engage
on
in
the
bacchanal
letterhead of the
and kind of
Judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago for immediate release, April 21st. Media release, visits to prisoners decaptioned by judges and judicial officers. And it's short, so when did you write? I'll read it. The judiciary wishes to advise that while it's unusual for judges of the Civil Division to see any need in the course of their work to visit the nation's prisons, the judges and masters of the children and criminal courts have quietly visited the prisons and the Youth Training Rehabilitation Center on several occasions. These visits were on the invitation of the Commissioner of Prisons and with the concurrence of the Minister of National Security, who has the authority to make rules for the powers and duties of visiting justices, official visitors, ministers of religion, and prisoners' aid societies. The last such visit of judges was as recent as February 2023. The Registrar and Marshal of the Supreme Court also visits the Prisons and Rehabilitation Center, frequently in the capacity of Marshals of Trinidad and Tobago. The Inspector of Prisons, who is appointed by the Minister of National Security, undertakes the duty to inspect the prisons and examine prisoners, among others. For further information, XYZ 123. So,
That's
in
basically
other words,
a rap on the knuckles.
in other words, frankly, Justice Prasad, walk in your line.
Yeah, the minister is
Go
in
back,
charge.
go back over the line.
Yeah, the minister
You're
is in
wrong
charge.
about whether the Minister of National Security has the authority to ask you that. And the word with the concurrence of the Commissioner of Prison with the concurrence of is instructive there.
Yeah.
In other words, Justice Frank C. Prasad, go back over the line.
Yeah.
Rap
Take a step back. Take a step
back, rap over knuckles.
Yeah.
And you see,
Richard has an opinion, but he's stifling it inside of him.
very often, these public utterances are what causes the clapback. If you didn't make a scene first, there would be no need for a public clapback.
Yeah. Because Minister Hines didn't make a big scene.
Yet.
You know?
Well, yeah, that is true, and he hasn't really replied or said anything, as far as I'm aware. No, he hasn't said it.
So it's very instructive to me that clearly you need to walk in your lane and know your place, and you're wrong. And he was wrong. And if it's from the judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago, guess who it's from? Nobody in the judiciary in responding to that without the direct instruction, this is my presumption, of the Honorable Chief Justice.
Yeah, because it comes from the court protocol and information.
Am I wrong, Richard?
I will assume he would have had an input in it.
It's not like Fitzgerald Hines there in Richard.
In other words, my hair business. Walk back in your line.
I'll assume you'd have an input.
Stop jumping on yourself. You're jumping on yourself too much.
Yeah.
Ay, la reine rive. Like that moment. So congratulations to Nicholas Paul. Richard, I played the video earlier.
Oh, okay.
The other one, I would have to seek permission because it's over 2 minutes of CNC3 because it's their content.
Yeah, it's a CNC3 report.
Yeah, so I would have to, once it's over 2 minutes, if it's under 2 minutes, we can use it for news purposes. But if it's over, I'll have to seek the acquiescence and concurrence of the head of news at CNC3 before I can air it here as a courtesy to us. But I have not been able to do that thing. Interesting. So, you know, Saturday everything shut down. Like a
lot of places were closed.
I actually was, and I had almost had an altercation with a security guard at Massey, St. Augustine on Saturday. Because I went rushing, I was going, and then I said my barber, running to the barber, and then I end up in front of the door at Massey at 3:58. They said they were closing at 4 o'clock, and he was closing, and said, I can't come in. I said, it is 3:58. Can you open the door, please, sir? He said, no, it's closed. I said, can't be closed. You're closing at 4. It's 3:58. Raising my voice just a bit. And there
Sounded kind of interesting.
2 people behind me. The supervisor, to her credit, came and said, can you open the door and let the people in because it's 3:58? You can close the door at 4 o'clock. Was I wrong?
No, you stood your ground. Is that the version of stand your ground?
3:58. If you say closing at 4 o'clock and 4 o'clock, I'm fine.
Richard, you're muted.
Wendell, that's our version of stand your ground.
Yeah, that's our version.
Yeah, I said it's 3:58, sir. Can you open the door, please?
Yeah. No,
He said, how long you staying? I said, how long I'm staying is really none of your business. It's 3:58.
Yeah. I
And
But we
what
know
are
you.
coming for?
Well, we know you told quickly, but the
I mean, what?
You got another
I said,
30
look,
more.
the watch saying 358, the phone saying 358, your clock
but
saying 358.
yes, I mean, I would have argued that point too.
Yeah. And even if it was 401, what's the big deal, bro?
No, I
It's one
mean,
more sale for the company that paying
sometimes,
you.
yeah, but sometimes it's the employees who want to get home, eh?
I get it, but it's 358.
Yeah. And sometimes they work in cahoots with the security guard.
It's 358.
But
Niggas in there rushing.
how long you took to get what you wanted to get?
I was out by 408.
What? So long?
I spent long in groceries and price or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so good morning, Tobago. I am suggesting the question this morning. We do agree with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley that Mr. Augustine and his colleagues should call an early election. That's the question I'm suggesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gary Griffith is urging both the opposition and the government, for protocol it should be the government and the opposition when it's being written, to meet and discuss matters related to crime in Trinidad and Tobago. He made the appeal during a video message on Sunday.
Oh, I
I
saw
think
that
it's a meet with
message.
him, man.
Yes, to meet with him.
they should both meet
Yeah.
with him.
And I saw that video message when he made that call that to set the politics aside because it's like a call to action. That's what he basically said. It's a call to action in terms of the crime situation, and so set politics aside and let's, I suppose, basically unite on whatever level to deal with the matter.
Did any of you
Because
guys?
that's difficult to do in a country where oftentimes ego is king.
Well, did you all visualize like I did, Dr. Rowley actually getting the physical copy of that letter and what happened thereafter? Did you all do that visual in here?
No,
I
You
did
what?
it.
I didn't know there was a. I didn't realize there was a letter.
No, I'm going on the road of it being a correspondence, a letter to
Oh,
the
okay, it's
president,
official correspondence.
right? And that Dr. Rowley takes it, reads it. Did you all do that visual? And what happens thereafter?
No,
Well, you don't want to do it.
no, I didn't do that visual.
Two people lost their lives in vehicular accidents over the weekend. Condolences to their families. One in Valencia, that Valencia stretcher.
There were a couple accidents yesterday too
Yeah.
on the highway with the rain, because there was rain yesterday for so. And there were a couple accidents, both eastbound and westbound of the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. I didn't see them, but somebody who videotaped them sent.
And
actually
I had a video of Rice River being flooded after a couple minutes rain into Cocorate, into Caranage yesterday. Flooding
Exactly.
across the road. I didn't rain that much in West Trinidad. It rained it was overcast all day. It didn't rain that much where I am. There was some drizzles, but it didn't rain that much in other parts of the country.
There's a good chance, Paul. I mean, I didn't see them, but there's a good chance that those are old videos. People recirculate.
No, the video had the date on it, but then I guess they could put the date after too. That's true.
Because a lot of mischief going on now with videos and so on, reports of robberies and attempted robberies. There's a lot of mischief afoot again with misinformation news, including Kobo selling in the market. You name it, you're getting it now on your feed.
Yeah, is that a real video? That Kobo in the market?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Ruben kind of cleared it up later on with another post.
Saying what?
You didn't see his latest post? Somewhere, some Spanish country.
Was a Spanish country? Okay.
Yeah.
Or the
Well, they really need to do something about that dump, though. Oh, good God. It's such an eyesore driving into Port of Spain. I was coming on the highway yesterday, and I'm saying, you know what? Sometimes I try to see Trinidad through the eyes of somebody who doesn't live here. Very difficult, but sometimes I try. And as you're entering that Beetham stretch, you are greeted by that dump. And I'm like, really?
you mean the
remember-
landfill?
They had so many. I'm talking about years ago under Patrick Manning. I have to go back to that, where they had plans to convert that dump into a modern facility there and in Arima. And Arima, it's like a mountain. It just not will be taller than El Chicuch. And they could start hiking up that. They will start hiking up the rubbish because it is so ridiculous in this day and age of modern ways to deal with garbage, that we can't get to that point yet. It irritates me no end. And it's such an awful eyesore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Who has papers?
And well, no, I don't have people.
I don't either.
Time for papers
No,
already.
what? You all have very simple responsibilities here.
I came in the border Spain too early to get papers.
No, papers are available minutes after midnight.
Where? In Port of Spain, sir?
Generally,
I used to do that long, long time ago. I haven't done that in a while.
they may not have on Murray Street, but if you can try other areas.
They will generally around the around Independence Square,
Independence
the
Square.
Brightline Promenade. Yeah.
Okay, it's Monday the 24th of April. Another month finished already almost. Let's start with the Newsday Online. Righting a great wrong. UK group works for slavery repatriations. Body found in Claxton Bay. Police await autopsy to determine how poor woman died. Gas suppliers assure no LPG shortage. Nurse challenges NCRHA for keeping her off the job. Police and civilians injured in San Fernando accident. PM tells THA's Farley, you have no mandate, call the election now. State to compensate cop for injury caused by violent prisoner. Judge removes convicted killer from death row. Common law wife scores victory in Privy Council. Online fraudster caught by Barataria police. And Tobago fishermen ready for flying fish talks with Barbados. Let's move now to the Express Online, which is always, I don't know why it's never updated properly, which is odd. Right, well, it's updated now. I correct that. All right, Express for today. Grief for beloved superior teacher. Ministry of Education has offered condolences to the family of mechanic and secondary school teacher Nigel Mendes, who died in a vehicular accident over the weekend. NP says no gas shortage. Jesse's ambition, a cricket commentator. Judge, reporter Renee practiced responsible journalism. Natural gas crisis. There's an article which interviewed former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine. The downward spiral, talking about suicide. And the Prime Minister respect other people's opinions in his Eid message. The Prime Minister and Stuart Young, and I think Minister Kazim Hussein paid a visit to a mosque, is it?
Yes.
In partly in celebration of Eid al-Fitr over the weekend.
I asked David Mohammed over the weekend, I said, do any of the politicians come by you? He said, no, well, I can't tell you what his response was, but
Yes.
I said maybe you need to send out some invitations and get them to come.
Let's move now to The Guardian. PM knocks Farley's independence for keeping THA positions, call fresh elections. Crime Bureau residents call for head of NED boss. 2 killed in vehicular accidents. Gang warfare eroding Caranad spirit. Unemployed youth feel like they have few options. Tobago Jazz was over the weekend. You barely hear anything about it.
I saw a lot of
UNC
posts about it, though.
Sorry?
I got a lot of posts on Facebook friends about it.
It was not prominent this past year, clearly.
No, it wasn't.
UNC blames crime crisis and government incompetence. Woman found dead after quarrel with relative. Father of 3 drowns in man-made pool. Doma issued security tips to members. Gary to Kamla and Rowley, let me help. And one dead and 2 injured following head-on collision on Valencia Stretch. Those are the trending stories in your Newsday, Guardian, and Express for today, Monday, the 24th of April, 2023.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Paul. Wendell, I have a message for you that Garrick Gooding from St. James passed away. Let's say good morning going out to Edwin Marshall, Ray in West Palm Beach, Sabita, Dwayne Sylvester, Leonard Naipaul, Ingrid Adams. Good morning to you. Let's get the results of our morning poll that we did on Friday. And Friday we asked you, do you expect that the full proclamation of the Procurement Act is going to reduce corruption in Trinidad and Tobago? That is our poll, and results will be followed right after. The public is advised that all locations of the National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago will be closed this Wednesday, 26th of April, in order to facilitate an all-staff event. Customers are encouraged to utilize NIBTT's online payment facility on the said day. NIBTT will reopen to the public Thursday, 27th April at 8 a.m. Management regrets any inconvenience caused to the public by the temporary closure. Again, our morning poll, the results are in. They expect that full proclamation of the Procurement Act is going to reduce corruption in Trinidad and Tobago. 85%, 85 said no. Said no.
15% people are very confident that it will. That's a start.
It's
All
not a
right,
start,
of
Wendell. People don't feel it's gonna make any difference. But
You know,
you're dragging at straws there, boy. Jeez.
I'm trying to find the positive part of
Yeah,
that poll.
yeah, conveniently. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's get into this
I would
morning.
have voted no too,
Let me read myself.
Go ahead,
The
Paul.
question this morning is: do you agree with Prime Minister Rowley that Farley Augustine should call an early teacher election? Yes or no? Very simple. Do you agree with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley that Farley Augustine should call an early THA election? When is it due? January
2024.
2024. So, a year?
A year and a bit.
We in
A year.
April, you know. 8 and 12
Yeah.
months will be 2024, right?
Yeah, but
So it could be,
it's
unless it's the end of the year.
I think it's closer to the end of the year.
Okay, so that's the question this morning. Call now or send a message on the board.
Yep, 222-8255, toll free. North Americans, 866-525-1099. We have a couple of calls in. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yes, his foot is getting too big for his shoes.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Granby. No.
All right, thank you, Grandy. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Steve. My answer is no. All who call early elections lost.
All right. Good morning.
Hi, President, good morning. The concern belongs to PNM alone. They rowdy money damn business.
I think that's a no.
All righty.
So she didn't vote.
That's a
I'm not
no.
putting it down. Let
That's
her
a
call
no.
that vote.
That's a no, Wendell. I
I'm a
couldn't
good friend.
That's a no.
I'm a good friend from Tobago. No, let her call back and vote.
That's
That's
a
a
no.
no.
We minding we damn business here too. Call back and vote.
Trump and Rima says yes. Ish out in Malik says no. Mr. Carapo, yes. Dennis, no. DJ Ray out in Tampa says no. Let's see it here. All right, so 222-8255, toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Send us a message on YouTube as well as our platform on our mobile app and our website at power102fm.com. Beefy Smith says big fat no. All right.
Paul, this morning, do you agree with the Prime Minister that Farley Augustine and his group of independents should call elections now? He's saying they have no mandate. Am I right in saying he said they have no mandate? Let me check.
Yes, basically that's what he said.
All right. Good morning.
Do you agree with him that they should call elections now? Yes or no?
Good morning, gentlemen.
I marked that down already.
Yeah, I done mark it long time.
Knock it down already.
An emphatic yes.
But you have to vote. Just like the lady from Tobago who didn't
I
vote.
said
yes.
an emphatic yes.
All right, we got it.
Right.
We got your vote. We didn't get the lady
All
from
right.
Tobago vote.
Good morning.
I put on her vote as a no.
No, I'm not putting it on at all.
Okay, well, you could
I
not
didn't-
put it down.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
I done put on yours too already.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we got your vote.
You said yes, right?
All right. Have a good one.
He said yes.
Okay.
Kenny out in Harlem says no. GB in Trin City says yes. Carol Guevara says yes. Rena Budu Jennings also says yes. Kazim Mohammed also says yes via YouTube.
Richard, you writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just coming. I was doing the calculation on my phone, but I'll come off to answer someone who excited about making pastries and wanted me to using me as the guinea pig.
I wonder who that could be.
Well, I'll send you a picture of the pastries first. I'm gonna do
All
the
right.
picture.
All right. So let's once again our morning poll question.
Do you agree with Prime Minister Rowley that the Rowley, Father Augustine, and his team, who currently govern the THA as independents, I think they just formed a party though, or at
Yeah.
least give up the name of a party. He's saying that they should call elections now. That they have no mandate. That's basically what the Prime Minister is saying. That they should call elections now. Do you agree with him? Yes or no? That's our poll.
All right. Let's see. Ms. Bonner West says yes. BCC says yes. Rampage. Morning. Yes. Since Watson left. Okay.
Watson didn't leave.
He didn't leave.
He's still there. He's the
They left.
They left, and he's
They
there.
left the PDP.
Yes, they left the PDP. They're now the TPP, the Tobago People's Party.
I know they have a name. I can't remember.
TPP, Tobago People's Party.
Okay. All right. Let's grab this call. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning. I would say that the local government elections in Trinidad should be called first, so my vote is no.
All right. Thank you.
Richard, I sent you the pictures of the pastry and the pastry maker.
Okay.
Kumi Power says no way. Donna Clark says yes. All right. We got 2 minutes before the hour is 7 o'clock. Again, our morning poll question. Do you agree with the Prime Minister that Father Augustine should call an early Tobago House of Assembly elections? That's our poll. All right.
Yep.
They're doing a course. They're doing a course, Wendell.
Yeah, apparently Saturday they started. And so I'm the guinea pig for the pastries.
Okay.
You know, I'll have to say, yeah, it tastes real good. It's the best pastry I ever taste.
Miss Ingrid says absolutely no. Ken E says I do not agree. Piggy Ray says yes. All right, 1 minute before 7 o'clock.
A pretty competitive poll, actually.
Yeah,
It is,
It's pretty divided. Obviously, people are not necessarily leaning completely undecided Prime Minister. It's competitive. It's a competitive poll.
Yeah.
Some people, of course, disagreeing, thinking no, they don't have to call any elections, let them serve out their term. And I assume that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Let them serve out their term and go back to the polls when they have to go back to the polls.
Because we have 3
Brett
years of
says
elections.
yes.
It's three consecutive years of elections we have coming, 2023 local, 2024 THA, 2025 general. 3 consecutive years of elections we have coming.
What you just said, Steve?
Stretch says yes.
Did I miss one?
I don't think so. I think that's the one he said.
Okay. All right.
Of course, TNT Met Office is saying partly cloudy. The cloudy conditions are expected with occasional light to moderate showers or periods of rain occurring in varying localities. And that's from the Met Office. All right. Any more votes coming through? All right. North Carolina, Leonard Naipaul. My vote is no. All right. All right. Let's get into our major news. Avi is back. Avi is back. Why is she back?
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
The Prime Minister calls for fresh elections if Chief Secretary Fali Augustine's new party takes its place within the walls of the THA. The National Transformation Alliance wants government and opposition to meet to discuss crime matters, and NP says there is no shortage of liquefied petroleum gas to the nation. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintelbab. Good morning. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is calling for a fresh Tobago House of Assembly election if Chief Secretary Fali Augustine's new party takes its place within the walls of the THA. The Prime Minister made the claim on his Facebook page over the weekend. Dr. Rowley said if Augustine and his Tobago People's Party members wanted to be taken seriously by the central government and Tobagonians, he should make arrangements for an early election. Dr. Rowley added, quote, "The business of the executive of the Tobago House of Assembly has ended up in the hands of a self-serving group of independents who, while under no legal requirement to resign their positions, have no mandate from the people of Tobago," end quote. The National Transformation Alliance is urging both the opposition and the government to meet to discuss matters related to crime in Trinidad and Tobago. Political leader of NTA, Gary Griffith, made the appeal during a video message on Sunday. Mr. Griffith said measures which worked in the past in the fight against crime should be revisited and implemented where necessary. He said law-abiding citizens have a right to safety and security. The former police commissioner and Minister of National Security said trying to gain political mileage and putting aside political differences must be done in order to treat with such a serious national issue. Mr. Griffith suggested the need for internal consultations among relevant stakeholders as soon as possible.
Enemy is not the political opponent. It is the evil, heartless, cold-blooded killers who are depriving you, the law-abiding citizens, with your right to safety and security. This is not a time to be blinded by politics. Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, I recommend we meet to discuss the implementable strategies that worked previously and to identify ways to provide the support and expertise required to respond to this current crime crisis in our country. Towards this end, I have sent official correspondence to both the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, seeking dialogue and solutions to help you, the citizens of this country.
There is no shortage of liquefied petroleum gas to the nation. Measures have been implemented to ensure an uninterrupted supply. Confirmation of this comes from the National Petroleum Company. Consumers have been advised to maintain their normal purchasing patterns and avoid panic buying, which only serves to cause shortages. NP's LNG plant operations will continue with systems in place to prevent any disruptions in supply. It gave the update as the company responded to a recent newspaper article which stated several petrochemicals at Point Lisas are currently shut down due to a fire at BPTT's Mahogany Hub. The article also states that one of these plants is the lone cooking gas producer in the country, which alludes to the fact that this could affect the supply of LPG cooking gas to the nation. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Condolences continue to pour in on the death of mechanic and secondary school teacher Nigel Mendez, who died last week at the scene of a crash on the M2 Ring Road in Bay. The Ministry of Education wrote on Sunday on its Facebook page, quote, "We offer sincere condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Nigel Mendez following his passing. He was a teacher, loving husband and father," end quote. 41-year-old Mendez was an auto teacher at the Superior West Secondary School. He previously taught at the Faizabad Composite Secondary School. His body was found by patrolling police officers of the Laro Main Police Station beneath its crumpled Nissan 14 vehicle, which was partially submerged in a drain on Thursday. A police officer at the scene had recognized Mendez's driver's permit and visited the family's home to relay the tragic news. Reports indicate that Mendez, a superior father of two, was on his way to pick up his 14-year-old son from the Bay Secondary School but did not make it. In February, immigration officer Selbin Khan was also killed as he traversed the M2 Ring Road. Khan's Mitsubishi Canter van was struck head-on by a trailer. Finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy to cloudy conditions are expected with occasional light to moderate showers or periods of rain occurring in varying localities. There's also a chance of isolated heavy showers or thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon to evening. Tonight will be settled with a few lingering showers. Note, gusty winds and street flooding may occur near heavy showers and thunder showers. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 31 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 30 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 25 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 26 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, the Prime Minister calls for fresh elections if Chief Secretary Fali Augustin's new party takes its place within the walls of the THA. The National Transformation Alliance wants government and opposition to meet and discuss crime matters. And National Petroleum says there is no shortage of liquefied petroleum gas to the nation. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and a news update coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right, that's exactly who we are. Thank you so much for joining us. It is the second hour of the Power Breakfast Show. Paul Richards, Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragobarsingh, and myself, Steve Khan. We're going to go up until 9 o'clock. Sir Charles will be in come 9 o'clock. Thank you, Evie, for our major newscast. Of course, we do have we have a news update coming up at 8 o'clock. Looking at traffic out of the west, Diego Martin. Out of Maraval, Mocha, for those coming out of Santa Cruz as well. Taking that route, you've got some traffic. Lower Santa Cruz got some. The stretch before you get to the walkover is also a bit busy. Eastern Main Road. You're going to pick up some traffic this morning from Dabadi. Usual spots, Dabadi, Tacarigua, going through Tunapuna, Mount Hope, Barataria, San Juan, towards Mova Junction. You've got some traffic. On the highway, from Piarco towards Yui, you've got it. Ibis Gardens towards the County Roundabout, Kelly Village as well. Chin Chin Road, you've got some as you head towards the Southern Main Road, and just after that, you head northbound, you'll pick up some traffic. Taking a look what's happening on the Solo as you make your way up north. Nothing to tell you about there until you get to Charlieville. Rivulet Road, heavy. Southern Main Road going through St. Margaret's Village to Claxton Bay. You've got it. The Creek's got some traffic. Labray also got some traffic as you go through Penal and Saparia and Pritchardstown. You got some volume there as well. All right, it's a quick traffic update for you. Right, let's check to see if we have any more votes online. I'm checking. Let's see. Una is okay. All right, gentlemen, let's get the results of our morning poll.
All right, Richard will have the results. I didn't record. Where did he go? But he did say it was very even, and I suspect that last vote might have been a tiebreaker. Ricardo? Perry? He's unmuted. Richard?
All right, Richard, do you have the results of our morning poll? All right.
So we'll get those results in a short.
Yeah. Let me let you all know. Furniture Plus has mega mattress deals for you. Shop Queen mattresses from as low as $799. Plus, get up to 20% off select Serta and Sealy mattresses with free gifts. All right. Combos, bases, and accessories are also on sale. Check press and social media for details. And of course, let me let you all know that the public is advised that all locations of the National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago will be closed come Wednesday, 26 April, in order to facilitate an all-staff event. Customers are encouraged to utilize NIBTT's online payment facility on that day, Wednesday, 26 April. The NIBTT will reopen to the public on Thursday, 27 April, from 8 a.m. The management regrets any inconvenience caused to the public by this temporary closure.
Is it a sports and family day or something?
I didn't say any. I don't know. All right. Adonna Clark says yes, so add a yes to that. Richard, the result of our poll. Yeah, you're not hearing you, Rich.
Log off and log back on. That happens to me from time to time, you know. I don't know what is the problem, but that has happened to me from time to time. Just log off, Richard, and then log back on. Yeah, because it happens to me where I'm seeing and hearing you all, but you're not hearing and seeing. What's that Antoine say there? Crime nobody's safe in this country. You see about that, but you're calling in elections out of. I wonder if there's a lady from Tobago, boy. Antoine. I had a very special lady named to me named Una Allen was her name actually. She was like my surrogate mom. Are you all hearing me now?
Yeah, Ingrid Adams says yes. So that's another vote there.
Anyway, so what else is happening in Trinidad? We're standing by for Afra Raymond to join us in a short while. We're talking about procurement legislation, and as of Wednesday coming, the 26th, the procurement law will be fully active. It operated for a while with just a few clauses, but now, as of Wednesday, it'll be interesting to see how many government agencies put their houses in order in time to get ready for this, because they've had enough time knowing it was coming.
Yeah.
So I think any government state agency that tells itself that we need more time needs some licks.
Well, I'm wondering now if that might be why NIB also shutting down for that day to put certain things in place. I'm wondering. I don't know. It just coincidental. It might be coincidental of the date.
Yeah, are you hearing me now?
Yes, we hear you, Richard. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. So the poll this morning was, do you agree with the Prime Minister that Defali Augustine and his team should call a new elections, that they have no mandate? We had 28 people voting on the poll this morning. Of the 28 people, 16 of you said yes. You think that they should call a general election in accordance with the Prime Minister's suggestion. 13 of you said no. You do not agree with the Prime Minister. So as I said, at certain points, no's were leading. At certain points, it was equal.
You can have 16 and
probably it's 29. Yeah, because I added that vote that Steve said.
You're right. God, I thought it was another CIC issue.
No, so it's a 16-13. 16, 13, 29. Yeah.
There's several elections due that one may argue, two in particular, the THA election and local government, which the terms of the corporations had been extended, not so, Wendell?
Sorry, yes.
So some may suggest if you're calling for the THA to call election, we should call local government election.
Well, local government election, the term was extended to December.
But that's exactly the point people are making, that, well,
Yeah.
it was due and you extended it, so call it. If you're calling for THA elections, call for that too.
But the THA wasn't extended, you know.
No, it wasn't, but that's exactly what gives Mr. Augustine the right not to call any election. Now, I understand Dr. Rowley's point that the persons in Tobago didn't vote. Do you vote for a person or a party?
In Tobago,
Yeah,
you vote for a party?
a party, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
And since you're no longer members of that party, some may suggest, and validly so, that your tenure may not be as valid as when you were part of that party you voted for.
Yeah, which is the discussion we had.
Which is the discussion.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Which is the discussion. So, but Mr. Augustine is not going to, in my opinion, yield to that request by the Prime Minister.
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to try, the party's going to try and prove their cojones, so to speak, and their ability to do the job within the time they have. So that when they go back to the poll next year, that they will have a chance under this new rubric they have called the TPP. I think that's what the plan is.
Yeah.
It's, politics and strategy, as is the Prime Minister's request. It's politics and strategy.
But it's all politics, because, I mean, the PNM don't want to exist at 113
No.
in Tobago. So there will be a call for fresh elections, just like the UNC is calling for elections, national, although they're doing 2025.
Yes.
National elections are doing 2025, not so?
Yes, correct.
Yes, general, yeah.
Because
August
the UNC
2025.
doesn't want to exist in opposition. So the PNM doesn't want to exist in opposition in the THA. So the politicians will rationalize their perspective to make their point. That's what politicians do. So I think, I hope we see one of the elections, particularly local government, this year. Is it December that the term had been extended to, Wendell?
Yes, December. But
Yes,
it could be called anytime. It could have been called anytime between.
I think
that
if the Prime
extension.
Minister is calling for THA elections, he should name a date for local government elections.
I'm almost certain local government elections will be called sooner rather than later, because all the signals are there.
Although the
Why
Prime
is
Minister has
that-
put forward a good case for Tobago elections being called earlier, I think,
Yeah,
as a show of good faith, if you're calling for the Tobago elections to be called early,
yeah,
name a date for the local government elections.
yeah. Well, a point of one of our listeners is that from the fact that they have started a new party, they have named a new party and come under our umbrella, the mandate has changed in Tobago, which is what the point Dr. Rowley is making.
I hear that, but as I'm saying, if in principle, because both elections, because local government is actually more eminent, more due than any of the other two.
Yeah, and local government elections will be coming. It is coming.
Yeah, but will be coming is not knowing a date.
Well, we don't ever know the date unless
But
the Prime
that's
Minister
exactly my
announces it.
point. My point is, if you're calling for Tobago election, I fully understand the rationale. Sure, in a show of good faith, just call the date for the local, because
Yeah.
clearly you're on the campaign footing anyhow now.
Yeah. PNM Sports and Family Day is this upcoming weekend in Toku. I expect that thereafter.
Well, that's why they're doing so much road work heading to Toku.
They are?
Oh, yes.
Well, good. Good for Toku. But that's happening this weekend in Toku. And
They take a family, they take fix
And
the
now
roads.
I take a family day to get stuff done to head to Toku.
That's what you're suggesting.
as I said, I wish to have a family day every part of the country.
But to be fair, that's why I said I think an election date is imminent. Port of Spain, and they signed an IDB loan to upgrade Port of Spain. Recently, I saw the Minister of public admin, I think planning, and the Minister of Works and Transport. There was a signing with an IDB official. And I see roads are being paved in Port of Spain and St. James and other areas. You understand?
Yeah.
So, in Trinidad and Tobago, that's not pretend when you see roads paving, you know what's coming.
Well, to be
So
fair,
the IDB loan is to what to Port of Spain?
I think it's for
Upgrade.
water, though. I think the IDB loan is about water.
It's about water?
Yeah.
I think it's public
I didn't read the
utilities.
details of the article. I just sort
I
of
think it's
upgrade
public
it.
utilities.
So,
Okay.
so
And,
we're still
and to be fair to the government, before any election talk came up, the government did state why they would have neglected the area of roads and so on because of the pandemic and so on, right? And the priority, and that immediately thereafter they would start the roads, and they did start the road paving. Even before the term of local government was extended, they had started that road paving exercise. To be fair to them, but again, people associate road paving always with elections, and well, so be it.
not invalidly so.
We just happy to get the roads fixed.
So we open the phone lines.
Alfred is coming on now. So, yeah, we squeeze a call or two if we can get it.
222-8255, 612-8255. North Americans toll free 866-525-1099. You can share your perspectives on the call for an early THA election and other issues in the national domain.
There was something else I wanted to raise, It just has escaped me. Richard, today is your boy birthday, Corey, don't forget. Wish him happy birthday. He's a toter too, eh?
Who, Corey Pascal? He hit what, 50 something now?
He looks a lot older than that.
I don't think he would be younger than 55. But anyway, happy birthday, Corey Pascal. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
I don't know what part of the world you're in now.
Good morning, gentlemen. Richard, is it possible you could ask for us to get some water? 10 days we haven't gotten any water. Could you ask Mr. Gonzalez to fix the booster? I can't take it no more. Fix the booster to ump up the water on the hill.
Well, Miss Sampson, strange that you would say that. Richard, I don't know if I remember you having problems.
Thank you.
But we haven't had water in our main for the last 6 days where I am in Arima.
Yeah,
and I checked
there's a
every
water
day.
schedule out, so I don't know if you all got it.
6 days we haven't had water in our main.
Well, I haven't had that problem, Wendell. So Central Arima is probably being treated well for once in 100 years. We have been getting water more or less pretty regularly. Well, I mean, not every day. As you know, in Arima, you don't get every day.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Raymond.
Good morning.
Good morning, Afro Raymond.
How are you all?
We're good, man. How you doing?
Your good self.
Not as good as you all. I don't have my own radio station.
But we didn't have
also
to,
don't
we
have
didn't
my
have to go
radio
through
station.
procurement to do this. I don't think so.
Nice.
Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened.
Well, I'm sure you'll get through, man. You'll be able to sort out yourself with somebody, organize, fix up the matter.
Well, there is big shots here watching on screen there now,
I know. I hear so.
After so, we're talking procurement, and as of Wednesday, the full remit of the procurement law as passed will become active.
Yes.
Now, of course, we had conversations with you before about what some describe as the watering down of the law, because you had been one of the people who had worked tirelessly for decades, I should say.
Yeah.
I know more than a decade. Trying to get this law because of what this country has faced in the past. I'm not even going to say with alleged corruption, with corruption.
Yes.
And the law, it was thought, is one of the measures where there would be some mechanisms in place to try to stymie those past incidences where billions of dollars, some suggest, would have been lost through corrupt practices in procurement, procuring goods and services. So what do you expect as of Wednesday?
Well, starting on Wednesday, we would have the proclamation of the law, and the remaining sections, the parts that remain out of effect, would come into effect, and the Office of Procurement Regulation, which is a new body that was established to run the procurement oversight system, will come into full effect, which would have a number of impacts on the system. So we would have the procuring agencies, those are the public bodies that are transacting public money. The procuring agencies that now have an obligation to prepare an annual procurement plan within 6 weeks of the publication of the national budget. That annual procurement plan is supposed to identify the intended projects and the funding for the projects. So we don't have this situation anymore, phantom projects popping out of the closet in full dress, and nobody saw them, so they must have been cooked up before. We get rid of all of that, and we have a degree of transparency and accountability to which we have been unaccustomed in the 60 plus years of independence. So it's extremely welcome, although in fact, as you stated in your introduction, Paul, the act was watered down, and I'll come to that a little later on in the interview. Let me also take the opportunity in this opening stanza to make the point that we were delayed for nearly a year now because of a series of actions between the Attorney General and the Chief Justice and the Judiciary. The Attorney General wrote to the Chief Justice in April last year asking for a checklist to implement this law. The Chief Justice replied at the end of May last year, 2022, with a 29-page document listing the judiciary's concerns about the law. And the Attorney General kept his very first press conference on the 22nd of June last year to announce that he was so alarmed by the 29-page document of the judiciary that he was halting the procurement law until he'd studied it. He went further, the Attorney General, to say that he'd appointed a team to look at 19 objections he identified in what the judiciary submitted. Now, I have been calling for those 19 objections to be identified. What is the evidence? I've criticized the 29-page judiciary paper, and I said if it is they cannot identify what the objections are with evidence and research, they should withdraw their objections in total. And what we have had here with the announcement on Thursday, the 20th of April 2023, we've had a mysterious zigzag, where in fact we don't know, has the judiciary withdrawn its paper? Has the Attorney General withdrawn?
or had the issues
the 19 objections? Has the Attorney General withdrawn the has his team rectified the law, the 19 objections? What are we witness to? So we just get shwa, like a rabbit from a hat, and a law that 6 months ago was unacceptable, and there were these 19 objections and there were 29 pages of concerns, is now going to be proclaimed on Wednesday. And I said, Wednesday the 26th, I welcome it, but I've been saying for the last 10 months, we've been delayed for 10 months by this set of maneuvers, and I'm placing it on the record that I think we need to be told whether that 29-page submission from the judiciary has been withdrawn. If it has not been withdrawn, well then what happened to the 19 concerns? This is not a trifling matter. I described it as a constitutional imbroglio. This is not a trifling matter. This is a very serious matter, and we need to be serious and focused about the development of our country.
So you're suggesting, this is my assessment of what you said.
Sure.
In the interest of full transparency, you're suggesting that the 19 identified issues, maybe the Attorney General should come before the public and or the Chief Justice and revise or give a new statement, provide a new statement identifying whether or not the issues had been resolved that were raised, or whether the issues were found to be not as valid as initially identified. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's fine. That will be fine for me. That's what I'm calling for, because ultimately, as eminent as these gentlemen are, and as learned as they are, no doubt they're more learned than anybody else in this interview. As eminent and as learned as they are public servants. The Honorable President of the country is a public servant, from the highest office in the country down to the man sweeping Woodford Square. They are public servants, and this is a matter of high public importance. And I think we deserve to know what is the case. It is critical law.
There's a post I saw on the weekend.
Hi, Richard.
that, and I'm trying to be very careful here, that indicated that the first Mr. Lalchan, I forget, I don't know why his position
Munila Lalchan, yeah.
did. He was the procurement
Regulator, yeah.
regulator.
Yeah.
And his tenure had ended.
Yes.
The 5-year tenure.
A 5-year term, yeah.
And now a statement from the relevant authorities have indicated that the deputy regulator is now active until further notice. I think the Attorney General's office may have issued a statement until a substantive regulator is appointed.
Yes.
And the post indicated, and the post asked the question: is this coincidental or not?
Okay, let me answer that point. That's an important point you raised, Paul. The Office of Procurement Regulation is a crucial office in terms of ensuring proper levels of accountability and transparency and good governance in our country. It needs to be headed by a permanent, properly appointed regulator who's competent. Mr. Lalchan discharged that job for 5 years. His term of office ended on 11th of January 2023, and Mr. Lalchan did a competent job. I'm not aware of any complaints or concerns raised about the way he did his duties. And I, to speak very clearly to the point, Paul, I would support Mr. Lalchan being reappointed on the basis of his qualifications and his previous performance in the job. If, however...
But at least unless someone can provide evidence that he didn't perform competently.
Well, I'm not aware of any complaints.
Exactly.
Possibility exists, I don't know. But I'm saying, if, however, the president, which is the person who has the power in the law to appoint the regulator, if, however,
on
the president...
consultation with the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition.
And the Leader of the Opposition, correct. If, however, the president wishes to go another way, what I would expect to see, given this job, and what happened the last time around, I expect to see a transparent process with an advertisement and a process to select another candidate. Just to make myself clear. But I agree with the person who, I think you said the person texted into the thing on some chat or something. I agree with the point that in fact it is critical that the organization have proper leadership going forward. I agree with the point.
What do you think? What difference do you think it should... Well, let me start with a different question first. Do you think that any state agency... Now, there's some exemptions that we could talk about later on, because I know you want to talk about what the shortcomings of the present law as presented. Do you think any state agency has any excuse not to be prepared for this by Wednesday, given the protracted delay in full proclamation?
Well...
We all knew it was coming.
Well, I can recall... I don't think so. But I will add two riders to that. I can recall the Minister Alison West making a statement to the Parliament that in fact every ministry had appointed a procurement officer, which is the critical appointment in this respect. Yes, it's like an organization appointing an HSE manager. It's the critical appointment, sort of within law. Okay,
it's part of the requirement.
Absolutely, and the other point I would make, Paul, to your question, is that the former regulator, the inaugural regulator, Mr. Lalchan, had actually offered, which he's entitled to do, he'd actually offered a 6-month, if you like, waiver, where in fact, if the law came into place today, for 6 months there wouldn't be any prosecutions, to give the lagging state institutions, the procuring agencies, time to put things in place, train staff and put systems in place and so on. So in fact, there was an offer on the table that everybody could have come into compliance at a particular date to start prosecutions and investigations and so on, okay? So the answer is, I think there will be difficulty for all of them to get ready at the same time, Wednesday being the start date, but I don't think there'll be any difficulty in terms of people being prosecuted and so on. We would have to have, in terms of all of us, let us be clear, this is not just about the public sector, in terms of all of us who transact in public money, this is a complete sea change. Because most private sector actors, people who sell goods or services or suppliers or contractors, most private sector actors, a large part of their commercial dealings is with the state. So it actually has consequences on both sides. The public sector people listening to this, and the private sector people who also...
Is it going to be a paradigm shift? Do you think it's going to be a paradigm
shift? Absolutely. It's a serious change. and I welcome it. The country is long overdue. Let's go. Let's go. We're not perfect, but it's mostly there. Let's go.
Is that you talked about that 6-month window post the law being proclaimed? Is that going to be effective, or that's up in the air at this point?
I honestly don't know, but it was offered before by Mr. Lalchan. I don't know if it will be effective because, of course, the question of the regulator, like we just discussed, Richard, is still open. You know, is he going to be reappointed? Is it going to be a fresh face in the office after a process of advertisement and so on? I literally don't know, but that's in the hands of the president. That's not a party political question. Yes, President Kangaloo will have to take advice and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know Mr. Lalchan and his team had been very aggressive in terms of educating public agencies about the procurement legislation. And yeah, and there's a lot of training that took place across agencies with regard to it. But that whole issue of procurement officers and the recruitment of procurement officers, I don't know that if it's as extensive as Minister West may have suggested. Maybe each ministry has, but each ministry has several agencies that comes under it. Right. And I'm not so sure that all of those agencies are equipped.
But I think you're right. Some critical, let's call them state agencies, some critical state agencies have indeed brought themselves into compliance. So I'm aware that National Gas, HDC, WASA, yes, I'm calling a few prominent agencies, that they have done the work. Telecommunications Authority, National Trust, I'm calling some examples, okay? I've done the work and I've put systems in place. A lot of work needs to be done. And it is the responsibility of those people in there, if they wish to transact public money, because that is the crucial thing. When we were writing this law, the crucial thing is, that is where the rubber hits the road. If you want to transact public money, you have to have those arrangements in place. Yes?
Yeah.
And the whole reason for being on a state board for most of the appointees is to transact public money. So we now have, you get me? We now have a kind of an interplay where that is what you're there for. And I'm not suggesting it's something nefarious, but that's the reason you're there. Whether it's to build roads or bridges or put down water pipes or whatever.
What is the state board appointees are for governance issues, for proper governance of the state entities?
Yes.
I know that they're there to transact money, but they're there to make sure the transaction of money is at a particular level within the ambits of the new law when it comes into place.
Well, that what you're describing, Paul, is a very idealistic position. The reality I have heard, because I've never been in a state board, of course, and I don't expect to be asked, but I have spoken with a number of people who've been on state boards, a range of them, chairman of boards and so on, and the picture is actually one in which a significant amount of detail and transaction-based detail is negotiated at the board. Who would get what and who wouldn't get what and that sort of thing. Those conversations, regrettably, that is a lot of what takes place.
You're right. That's why we needed the law, because we don't pretend that, and this is regardless of whatever particular administration is in power, that is the allegation that led to the corruption in the country. This person on a board and this person have this partner who have this business with goods and services, and no, you could easily in any scenario say, well, give us 3 bids now. Well, you bid X, you bid Y, you bid Z, and we know who we're giving it to. That is the allegation over decades.
Yeah. Now, I want to speak, if I may. I know we don't have an unlimited amount of time. I wanted to speak. That's a very important point, Paul. I wanted to speak to the whole question in terms of arrangements of where we are in the law. You spoke about it earlier on, Paul. You mentioned exemptions, and I would come to that point now. We're a republic, and the concept of us being a republic is that everybody in the country is equal. We no longer have any lords or kings or princes or anybody who's above the law.
We're not supposed to.
Well, I'm coming to that. I'm warming to my team. And conceptually, philosophically, what we're dealing with is a concept called equality before the law. That is a foundation stone in this thing. And we acknowledge that and we build from that. What I want to say is that some of the exemptions approved by the Parliament, the third set of exemptions in 2020, December 2020, the 8th of December, those exemptions do violence to the concept of equality before the law, because we have exemptions now in the procurement law in that legal fees are exempt, accountants and auditors' fees are exempt, bankers' transactions are exempt, and government-to-government arrangements are exempt. And it's either those exemptions do violence to equality before the law, or they're just fine. And if they're just fine, well, why don't engineers have an exemption too? Or architects? Or I'm a surveyor, why don't surveyors have exemptions too? You see, because the point about it is this: those exemptions are unjustifiable in my respectful opinion. And I am starting, this morning on this show, I'm starting a campaign to have those exemptions overturned in the interest of good order and fundamental equality before the law.
So you think there should be amendments brought to overturn those exemptions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there is no good reason. Let me give a little example, Paul, to show how serious this is. We were discussing, I made a call about a month ago for the DPP, Mr. Gaspard, to give us an explanation about the Coleman report into CLICO. So we're not talking about construction. We're talking about CLICO, $25 billion, the Commission of Inquiry. DPP Gaspard has the Coleman report. And Dr. Rowley says it can't be published because the DPP needs to look at it. I made a call in the press for that report to be published and for the
Now,
DPP
give us
to
some
give us an
context.
account.
What is this report about? So people who
The
don't
CL
know.
financial collapse.
Right, okay.
Yes. I made a call in the press for DPP Gaspard to update us on the report because, in fact, nobody has been charged in the CL, criminal charges in the CL financial collapse. $25 billion of public money spent, nobody charged. And that same newspaper article gave a quotation from the then Attorney General, Fares Al-Rawi, that the DPP's office had spent $221 million in professional fees with the accounting firm Deloitte, examining the Coleman report, and still nobody has been charged. So where's the accountability? You could spend $221 million in accountants' fees. In the Coleman Commission of Inquiry, $80 million in legal fees were spent. Dr. Rowley gave the details to the Parliament, 1st of July 2016. $80 million in legal fees were spent. So we have close to a little more than $300 million in professional fees spent from these two exempted professions, and nobody charged. So how is the public interest being served if you don't have oversight of those expenditures?
If the country spent $300 million, the country spent $300 million of forensic investigation into perhaps the most calamitous financial challenge the Caribbean has faced.
Absolutely.
The affected islands of the Caribbean, not only Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely.
Causing major financial instability, forcing the government of Trinidad and Tobago to jump in to stave off collapse of many institutions. I think, this is my opinion, the public has a right to know what this inquiry, this forensic inquiry, at the cost of $300 million, to your information, produced.
Yes.
And whether or not it produced anything that is actionable legally.
Yes. And this, the only reason I cited that example, Paul, and I think you got the point, is that here we have a recent, verifiable example. The source for the $80 million in legal fees is Dr. Rowley's statement to the Parliament. The source for the $221 million in Deloitte's fees is then AG Al-Rawi's statement to the Parliament. $300 million spent, nobody charged. The Coleman report still in a drawer. Where's the public interest in this? And how are we satisfied that we achieve value for money for those fees? And that is given fortification to my case that those sorts of professional fees, just like engineers' fees, just like architects' fees, just like surveyors' fees, need to be exposed to proper scrutiny and oversight. There are to be no sacred cows. We need progress for our country and equality before the law.
I'm trying to remember the provisions in law. And in addition to that, what you're saying is accurate. Provisions in law for these fees, though not under the remit of the law, to be laid in Parliament in some report at some point?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I think what you may be referring to, because we are slightly at cross purposes here, what you may be referring to, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that in fact the procurement law has a requirement for the regulator, the OPR, to lay an annual report in Parliament where they detail all the contracts and the amounts and so on. But what my point I'm making here, Paul, is that in fact, because of the exemptions which were created
those
in
don't fall
December
under the requirement by the
2020,
procurement regulator.
yes, those fees are all exempted, and I'm saying that's wrong. So I think we're on the same page.
So you're talking full transparency
Yes.
as opposed to partial transparency.
Exactly. That's what I believe we need to put our eyes on, and I'm saying that we need to focus and work towards that.
The issue of that Coleman report, though, was raised quite recently, in the imbroglio with the DPP and the other state agencies. That came up, because I think recommendations were made for charges, and it is at the office of the DPP since then, and nothing has moved forward. So that was a quite recent revelation that we got coming out of that latest impasse.
Yeah. I made the statement, Wendell. You're quite correct. It was recent. I think it might have been on the 24th or the 25th of March.
Yeah.
I made this statement, and it was reported in Newsday.
I read it.
And I was saying that in fact we need to be informed. The public needs to be informed. Why isn't the report being published? Why has nobody been charged?
Yeah.
Because it's now, I think it's 1st of July 2016 that the report was submitted to Dr. Rowley and his team.
Yeah.
He reported to the Parliament and he said he couldn't publish it because of the DPP asked him to hold his hand.
Yes.
And we now almost to 7 years.
Yes.
And I am none the wiser. I, as a taxpayer, but I do pay all my taxes, I find it highly unsatisfactory.
Yeah. Well, I think people have the right to know also, given the kind of people lost their livelihoods, their life savings. People, in some instances, people lost their lives. People's children had to come out from university. People lost their homes.
Yes.
It was extremely catastrophic for scores of citizens.
Yes, indeed. It was very hard. And it's an important call, and it gives us a concept that the procurement concerns isn't only about building contracts and roads and bridges and buildings.
Yeah.
It has broader concerns, and the CL Financial example illustrates that.
Yeah, I think I would have heard Paul raise earlier on. I don't know in what context, but I'm going to raise it again. The issue of bid rigging, for want of a better word. Those are my words. In that, regardless of how much procurement legislation is put in place, that issue of the 3 bids and you deciding how those people bid or choosing who you want, I don't know that will end this procurement legislation. How will that end that?
Well, let me just say to you, let me answer you directly, Wendell. Under the current provisions of our law, in other words, Monday the 24th of April 2023, bid rigging is not illegal.
Okay.
From the 26th of April, it will be legal. There are clauses in the procurement law that prohibit bid rigging. And there are penalties for that. Just to answer your question, you're asking an important question.
Part of the remit of the regulator and his or her team to investigate suspicions of bid rigging.
Absolutely.
But he'll be investigating every single matter that is procured.
I don't know that, but I mean, if there's evidence, because part of the remit of the law is there are professionals who are charged with responsibility of looking at all these contracts from state agencies to identify if process was followed according to the law, and if there are red flags that suggest that further investigations should take place.
Yes.
So, Alfred, let me ask this question then, because this is something I've been pushing for in the Port of Spain Corporation for the longest while. The issue of pre-qualification for contractors and so on. I've been trying to get them to do that for the longest while, and I've met great resistance to it. Pre-qualifying contractors. How is that part of this procurement legislation?
Yes, it is. What happens, to answer your question, again, another important intervention, Wendell. To answer your question, what will be created after the 26th of April is a common register of contractors and suppliers. So in fact, people who can build walls or roads or drains or a 6-story building, there would be lists of contractors who could perform those works, and those people would have to go through the process of the OPR to get registered as an approved contractor for this or that type of work. Yes,
right.
So it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that. Let me just pull something out of the sky.
Go on then.
A recreation park is to be built.
Oh dear.
And a contractor who has had no previous experience or track record building recreation parks suddenly forms a company and puts forward their bid and is successful over companies who may have had track records exceeding 10, 15 years. That will be trying to avoid in moving forward.
We should avoid that. And let us be clear, Paul. I know you're a polite.
Watch Wendell face.
Well,
hold on. I know, Paul, I know you're a polite fella, and you put it as a what if, but let me make it absolutely clear to viewers and listeners that is exactly what happened with Kalahart and Udicott. And that is exactly what was revealed in the inquiry, where in fact companies that were formed 2 weeks ago with no track record, no accounts, they haven't put up a school building, received $300 and $400 million.
Not even registered as a company.
Let's go back a little earlier, Afra. It was reported back then too that the person who got the contract to build Piako Airport didn't even have a truck.
Well, yeah, all of these things.
Yeah,
and again,
they didn't even have a truck.
But Wendell, as I said recently, I did a recent interview with Fazir. As I said recently on the interview with Fazir, I am also calling a DPP gas spud. 20 years has passed. A lot of water has flowed under the bridge. Would you also please publish a Bernard report into the Piako Airport project? What is the harm? We are sitting on this information. Citizens have paid millions of dollars for these inquiries, and we need to learn from our past if we are to have hope for the future.
It is continued now to a large extent. So where's the problem with publishing it now anyway? It ain't going to affect any case that I know about.
It was handed to the president in August of 2003, 20 years. Okay, and I also made a call to DPP Gaspard at that time. Would you please publish that?
Let me ask a question based on, as of Wednesday, this is also a scenario that has, in many instances, facilitated corruption. The issue of, the state presently has a plethora of contracts under several state agencies with several service and goods providers. What will happen to those contracts as of Wednesday moving forward, the ones that will need to be renewed that have, in some instances, faced automatic renewal?
Okay, the answer to the question is that if you have a substantial contract for a single thing, so for example, you're building a 4-story building and the contract was awarded 2 months ago, well, obviously that wouldn't come under the new law, because the contract would already have been awarded.
Yes.
Okay. If it is you have a contract that's rolling, where it's renewed, which is what I think Paul was speaking to. Obviously, you have limits because many of those types of contracts are with special suppliers. So, for example, a building which has elevators, the company that supplies the elevator, maybe the one who has to have the contract to maintain the elevator. Just to make a simple example. Okay? There are other types of examples, motorized gates and so on. But then there are more general services, where there's refuse collection, janitorial, repair and maintenance of buildings that can be handled by a wider range of people. And in fact, those things may be amenable to intervention, where we opening up those contracts to more transparent and wider competition. Yes?
Because that's going to be an issue with people trying to stay within the ambit of the law.
Yes.
Because they don't fall in the category of exempted contracts. Or exempted
but all of those points, Paul, what would be well advised for an agency? Let's suppose the agency is Agency X, Public Agency X, with contracts that fall into that species. You could write to the regulator and get directions. You could say, listen, we have these contracts that are coming up in the next 3 months or the next 6 months, and we're considering doing this. And we're seeking your guidance at this point. Those are the steps you could take as an enlightened procurement officer to put yourself on the correct side of things.
Or you could follow the law.
Yeah, you're gonna follow the law. Yeah.
Could you expand? Could you talk a bit about the penalties or the how should I put it, the recriminations that will come to chief officers and people in that sphere?
Okay.
If they don't follow the regulations.
Okay.
And just to add that to Wendy's question, and who specifically in the state agency or division will be held as breaking the law if they are not compliant?
Okay, well, let me explain to you. Under the current position, a state agency can grant a contract for goods or works or services, and that contract, or if an arrangement is found to be illegal, you may find the state agency could be put in court. Yes, we have those cases. Or you could find that a fine could have to be paid if they're in breach of some law and so on. Under the new arrangement, we created a situation where, in fact, we want each procuring agency, those are the public bodies that transact public money, we want each procuring agency to be required to appoint a procurement officer, which is what Wendell is speaking about. That procurement officer has to be a biological person. It's not a post, it's not a committee. It's a biological person with a date of birth, a driver's permit, an address, everything. That biological person, which we come to Paul's question, which we expect in most cases would be either the CEO, yes, we're dealing with reality of an organization, would either be the CEO or the chief financial officer. Somebody of that level in the organization will be doing that, or the chief engineer or something. If it's a place like WASA, maybe. Okay, that person has the sole authority for awarding contracts and signing documents of that importance. If a contract is found to have been unlawfully awarded, to come to the point, that is the person who will be in front of the court. So WASA, I'm just making an example with WASA. WASA will be in court and its chief procurement officer. And the way the law is written, there's only one offense that is non-custodial. All the other offenses, once the breach is found to have occurred, the chief procurement officer must go to prison.
And the chief procurement officer can't say where the CEO and
told him
instructed me.
Exactly, and that is what we were working for. And as I said, it shuts that channel from cabinet, and it opens a channel where you start to have a conversation with the procurement regulator. Listen, we want to do these 4 contracts, and this is what we're considering. We'd appreciate your guidance.
Do you think the law?
Yeah.
Now you spoke about you clear on your issues with the exempted clauses.
Professions,
professions, and in some regard, I agree with that. But I'm just glad that the law is on the books now, because it's been long and coming, quite frankly. And people don't need to understand. Sometimes you have to waiting another 10 years, or getting it on the books and getting the amendments on the books also, if the law is not seen to be as effective as envisioned.
Yes.
And you clearly cited some issues where the law may not be effective given those exemptions.
Yes.
Do you think the present construct of the law will insulate the influence in the past of the tentacles of particular board members or political agents? I'm not saying this government, I'm saying generally, who wish to continue with corrupt practices?
Definitely. Absolutely, Paul. Which is the reason that there has been so much reluctance over the years to bring it. So the answer is yes, it will definitely retard and restrict that political access. So political financiers would have an access to the cabinet, we understand that. And that access to the cabinet normally translates into them having an influence in who gets what, and how much he will get, and how much she will get. And that is going to be restricted because, in fact, at the level of the procurement officer, the responsibility for signing and the responsibility for paying the penalty resides with a single person.
No, laws are not retroactive in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm trying to squeeze in before we end. Laws are not generally retroactive. Well, not retroactive. I am sure that there may be contracts that may have been improperly awarded in this country presently active.
No doubt.
What is the remit of the regulator and the law where those are concerned? Is it that they're going to be examined and audited and recommendations made, or is the law silent on that?
Well, the law doesn't speak to it, but I would expect that a diligent regulator with the resources available to the current apparatus would be able to examine some of the larger contracts where legitimate questions exist, purely if only as a learning exercise, to say, okay, this is what went wrong here, and this is what we should do better next time around. It may not be
but
a
isn't
question of
if
charging
the
anybody.
regulator, the properly
Yes.
appointed regulator, examines a particular contract that's in existence and active, and says that there are problems with this. I
Yes.
have no remit because it was awarded before the law became fully active.
Yes.
Then it's on the executive at that point or some other
Yes.
body to say the regulator who has credibility and remit has said there are problems with this.
Yes, that's a possibility, but I'm just making the point that I don't think the regulator could do a retrospective charging anybody or anything. But certainly, existing contracts could be examined and analyzed, and that learning could guide us to better waters going forward. That's how I would respond to you.
Yeah, I think another way of looking at it is where can the regulator override the authority of a CEO who would have been the one who's signing off on that contract at that point in time? Can the regulator intervene at this point in time?
Well, if there's a complaint or the regulator finds that the contract was improperly awarded, indeed they could intervene. But let's be careful to understand the regulator, the Office of Procurement Regulation does not grant contracts itself. The state agencies, the WASA and the Ministry of this and TNTech and those agencies, UDCOT and so on, they still have the power to issue an RFP and assess the tenders and award a contract. They still have that power.
Right.
All that's happening now is that there's a new layer, which is the OPR. Just like how there's an Auditor General, there's a new layer that is analyzing all of these contracts, and when something is found to be out of order, they have the power to charge or to bring it back into order.
Well, I don't know why you would have used that analogy, that comparison with the Auditor General, because generally those reports are just reports. They don't really have the power to do anything.
I use it to compare and contrast, because all of the campaigning I've done, I did not want the Office of Procurement Regulation to end up like the Auditor General's department.
Yeah.
I've said that several times. I don't want it to end up like that.
Right. Okay.
Afra, thanks a lot for being with us, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man. Bye.
News is next.
All right, let's get into it. Of course, Ivy is here.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Transparency activist Afra Raymond says there are questions over the decision to fully proclaim the Public Procurement Act. He made the comment while speaking on Power 102 Digital's Power Breakfast show this morning. The government announced last week that Cabinet has agreed that the remaining sections of the Act should be proclaimed. Mr. Raymond said there has been no statement from the Attorney General regarding previous concerns raised by the judiciary concerning the legislation. He called for clarification on whether these concerns were addressed or if they were ill-founded in the first place. Former radio announcer and media personality George Umbala Joseph has died. The 84-year-old was admitted to the St. James Medical Complex on Tuesday and had spent 3 days under a tent on the hospital's compound along the Western Main Road before being warded. Northwest Regional Health Authority CEO Anthony Blake described Joseph's situation at the time as unfortunate, but acknowledged that staff members were struggling with a lack of capacity as they strived to follow policy to facilitate those patients suspected of COVID-19. Joseph eventually passed away on Saturday after being warded. Family and friends of Kyle Ravi Ali of Mango Street, Calcutta No. 2 is today mourning his death. Ali died after spending Eid with his family and girlfriend on Saturday. The 24-year-old man went liming and never returned home. He was killed in an accident minutes away from his home early yesterday morning, while his friend Kadesh Singh, 20, was injured. Ali, a foreign-used auto car parts salesman, was on his way to drop Singh home after liming at a bar owned by a relative. It is believed that sometime after 4 a.m., Ali's car ran off the road and crashed into a concrete wall near RNC Enterprises along Mission Road, Freeport. The accident went viral on social media after a man did a Facebook Live at the crash scene asking if someone could call the emergency services because he could not get through to them. The police arrived at the scene around 4:22 a.m. In another incident, one person died and 2 others were hospitalized after a 2-vehicle smash-up on the Valencia stretch on Saturday evening. The dead man was identified as Suresh Jagru, 30, of Komodo Main Road, Coreal. Ray Colimo, 41, of Chaguanas, and Carlin Waldron were hospitalized at the Sangre Grande Hospital up to last night. According to police reports, Jaguru was driving his car west along the Valencia stretch when he lost control while negotiating a corner and ran head-on into a black Aqua driven by Colimo, who was heading east. Waldron was a passenger in Colimo's car. Jaguru died in his vehicle while Colimo and Waldron were rushed by EHS ambulance to the hospital. And the UK government has insisted it's doing all that it can to help British nationals stuck in Sudan after diplomats and their families were rescued yesterday. Minister Andrew Mitchell says there are estimates of around 4,000 Britons in the country, but the number could be higher. Fighting between 2 opposing forces has seen deadly shooting and shelling in the country's capital, Khartoum, for more than a week. France, Germany, Italy, and Spain have been evacuating diplomats and other nationals from Sudan, but UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly has warned that help for Britons will remain severely limited until a ceasefire is reached. Well, that was your news update at 8 o'clock. Look out for news in full at 12 noon.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
What's going on? 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 Something gone wrong, like everything upside down, Lord. Right now, good bad is like this whole place gone mad. Every day is a hustle and a bustle. Everybody right now caught in the jostle for space in the race, trying to keep up the pace, but the space ram cram. Everybody is jamming for a better life, a better way of living. In the meantime, simple things we forgetting, like how to say good morning, morning, neighbor. Good morning, neighbor.
Oh, good morning, neighbors. And welcome to the 3rd hour of the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got Sir Charles coming up at 9 o'clock. Thank you, Evie, for our news brief. We got another major news coming up. That's at noon today. Paul Richards, Ragobarsingh, Wendell Stephen, and myself keeping you company for less than an hour and 52 minutes to be exact. Well, let's take a look at what's happening traffic-wise. Starting down San Fernando, see what's happening down there. Yeah. If you're leaving Santa Flora and you're heading towards the Paria, yeah, you got some traffic there. There's also an accident there as well, all right? Going through Destiny by Labre, the Creek, you got some traffic. Usual routes in San Fernando, yep, they're heavy already. They're heavy already, all right? Exiting San Fernando if you're southbound, yeah, you got some there as well. All right, taking a look at the Solos. We head up north. Yep, Rivulet Road is heavy. Cuba Main Road is heavy. Yeah, wow. Freeport Mission Road, you got some traffic there. And then slow going towards Sugargonas. That Sugargonas Main Road is also heavy. And leaving Sugargonas, past Chinchin Road, which is also heavy. Past Monroe Road, you've got traffic. All right, Monroe Road is heavy. Slow going towards the interchange. Heavy traffic again. Yeah, from Sangre Grande Police Station, heading to Valencia, you've got a slow go to Santa Rosa, then your traffic really picks up from Payaco, Golden Grove Road, Eastern Main Road, equally heavy. Mount Hope at a roundabout here, heading towards Eastern Main Road, also heavy. Maraval, Diego Martin is unique. Clear choice. Coming down Lady Young Road, yep, you got some traffic. And St. James Main Road, right in front where Wendell is, also heavy. Long Circular Road as well. Wow. You got some traffic this morning, folks. Good morning to you, Rampage. Good morning, Katie, Mova, Meb. Good morning to you. All right, hope you guys have a great day. It is 27 degrees at Piarco International Airport. Also at Crown Point, and what they're saying today, partly cloudy. The cloudy conditions are expected with occasional light to moderate showers or periods of rain occurring in varying localities. There's a 30% low chance of isolated heavy showers or thunderstorms mainly during the afternoon to evening. This evening will be mostly clear with a lingering shower. That's what they're telling me. All right, let's get into our Kiss Power Choice.
Give me a kiss. A kiss cake. How about a kiss? A kiss cake. I really wanna kiss that cake with a heart of cream. Give me a kiss. A kiss cake. How about a kiss? A kiss cake. I really wanna kiss that cake with a heart of cream. A kiss for me and a kiss for you. Everybody loves kiss cakes. Yes, it's true. Cupcakes and goodies. They're iced too. Tastes like a dream cream filled for you. Give me a kiss. A kiss cake. How about a kiss? A kiss cake. I really wanna kiss that cake with a heart of cream. Give me a kiss. A kiss cake. How about a kiss? A kiss cake. I really wanna kiss that cake with a heart of cream. Mwah!
Here she comes, my Caribbean lady. Here she comes, my Caribbean baby. Hey, Dudu, Bachman, come and talk to your man a while now. You know I love you. She's everything you think she's all about, and everything you dream she'll be. She lips could bring love water to your mouth. She's a bacchanal lady. She will infect you with her ramashe, melt you like a noonday sun. Take your status symbol high away. She mix your milk with punch and rum. She's bacchanal lady. Sweet scandal when she walk. Bacchanal lady. Real magic when she talk. Bacchanal woman. Won't you come? Won't you make some love to me? She ain't a rum and Coca-Cola girl. Don't try to fool she with no jive. If you want to break down in she carnival, you talk strong, you stay alive. She neither here nor there, she everywhere. Them people say she is a tramp, but when she catch them in cheap atmosphere, she go shame them simple scamp. She's bacchanal lady. What it is you hide behind your eyes? Bacchanal lady. Come on to me with your sweet surprise. Bacchanal woman, woman. Won't you come? Won't you make some love to me? A bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, a bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, you, a bacchanal, me, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal woman. Sweet scandal when she walk, bacchanal woman, yes. Such magic when she talk, bacchanal woman, woman, woman. Won't you come, girl? Won't you make some love to me? A bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, you, a bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal woman. Sweet scandal when she walk, bacchanal woman. Listen to the woman when she talk, bacchanal woman, woman. Won't you come? Won't you make some love to me? A bacchanal, a bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, a bacchanal, eh? A bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal, a bacchanal woman. What it is you hide behind your eyes? Bacchanal woman.
Oh, that's your Kiss Power Choice.
Surprise, bacchanal woman.
David Michael Rudder. And a song called Bacchanal Lady. I know a few of those. And that's your Kiss Power Choice. Thank you so much to the Kiss Making Company.
Friends and colleagues, Lorraine is a fun-loving, hard-working mom. But she has a deep, dark secret.
Nighty-night, kids.
Every night, when her family goes to sleep, Lorraine tiptoes silently to her secret snack hiding place. A box within a box at the back of a high shelf. Here, she hides her favorite midnight snack, a Kiss chocolate-covered brownie. If you could see the smile on her face, you'd think she hit the snack jackpot. The Kiss brownie you can't get enough of is even more irresistible. Now completely covered with decadent chocolate. It's the snack worth sneaking around for. Perfectly smothered, perfectly yours.
Yes, that's what I said. Perfectly mine.
All right, thank you so much to the Kiss Baking Company. 15 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. Welcome to the third hour of the Power Breakfast Show. If you're stuck in traffic, you're listening to us, thank you so much. We'll keep you company till you get to your destination. Right, gentlemen?
Right? It was interesting talking with Afra. It always is. But that issue of the procurement legislation, I know it's gonna meet a lot of resistance in a lot of organizations that have been so set in their ways, especially with this issue of alleged big bid rigging and so on. They're so set in their ways, it's gonna be very difficult to get people to change. I don't know procurement legislators. They are coming from society just like we all are. Just like the police officers coming, just like the engineers coming, just like the CEOs coming, and just like the politicians coming. They're coming from within society. And they are going to be just as corruptible as everybody else. It will have to be a very strong, determined person to go into positions like that and not fall into the groove and not become part of the system that has this place so bloody well corrupted. You understand? So I wait to see, because I know I've been trying to change things in Port of Spain in the city for the longest while, especially as it regard to pre-qualification of contractors. I've recommended that. I brought documents to support it. We put out a full page ad in the newspaper, and then after that it just fell flat. Nothing was followed. Because anybody could do anything anywhere right now, you know. You don't have to be qualified in nothing to do a job for somebody with it, you know. You just have to say you could do it, put in a price, the person like it, and they take it. That's all it requires now, you know. Basically, you know. You understand?
The lowest bidder.
And they always say they're not bound to go with the lowest bidder. You know why? You know why they do that? Because the person who they prefer might actually be the highest. And so they say that so that the person who get the lowest bid can't say nothing. You understand? That's what it is now. That is what obtains now. I don't know how that is going to change. I don't know how a procurement legislator is going to change that, but I wait to see. I wait to see. I am going to be raising it again in the Port of Spain Corporation before I take my leave. You understand?
Are you going on leave? When are you going to leave?
No, I said my term of office coming to end. There's no guarantee that I will be re-selected, because I'm not contesting an election. I ain't going up for no seat. So I am at the whim and fancy of whoever decides to appoint me as an alderman again. You understand? At the political leader. He's the one who did it, Prime Minister, in the last 2 occasions. Right? And left up to other people, I would not have been appointed, except for him. He is the person who stood up for me, and put me there. You understand? So I have a lot to thank him for. But we'll wait and see what happens. See, whether he does it or he doesn't do it, it doesn't matter to me. I'll be freer to travel even more now. Let's put it that way. So we'll wait and see. But I'm going to be raising it again before. I'm going to raise it in statutory meeting this coming Wednesday, because as chairman of physical infrastructure, I directly chair the committee that awards some of those contracts for a lot of the infrastructure work in the city. You understand? And I've been making a real issue out of it. And as a chairman,
what have they been saying with the corner of Queen and Abercrombie? That drain facility has been deplorable for years, and no matter what they try to do to fix it, it just deteriorates after some time.
Queen and Abercrombie. Is that where the library, the water that comes out from the library?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an underground well under the library there, you know.
Yeah, no, it flushes out every so often.
Yeah, that causes a lot of problems in that area. A lot of problems because of the constant flow of water in
I
that
don't know
area.
why they can't harvest that water though.
I don't know why either that they haven't come up WASA, because I would imagine it's WASA who controls it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't come up with a plan to keep that water, store that water somewhere. Because it just constantly flows down that drain there by the library. You know? So it erodes the drain with water running non-stop like that. It erodes the drain.
Yeah. Probably need a proper engineer and proper people to fix that.
We tired raised that one. That one was.
They need professionalism when it comes to that. I don't think the regular Port of Spain Corporation guys could deal with that.
No. As I say, it's out of our remit. The actual water that's coming up from there. I'm sure WASA will have something to say about that. Because it won't be the National Library either. It's a well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's take some of your calls. 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Of course, send us a message on our message board as well, like what KT and Meb and Rampage. KT is saying morning all. No, not yet. Meb is saying once it's formalized, right principle, election and stuff. Okay, all right, thank you. Rampage is saying the immigrants is placed to minimize. Okay, all right, no problem. So let's grab some of these calls. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
All on Facebook. On Facebook.
Not after 8. 6 to 8, yes.
6, but I tried around that time. I'm not getting it on my phone, so that's why I called to ask if you all on Facebook.
You will have to check Paul's page, is it?
Oh,
I think the Facebook Live is Paul's page.
Oh, okay. On Paul's page. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when
yes, ma'am.
Right by the secondary school, and me know that water keeps running for years now.
Where's that, sorry?
Think about that too. On the Eastern Main, you know where the secondary school is?
Which secondary school and which is on Eastern Main Road?
What part of Eastern? Which part of Eastern Main Road?
Right around CG, the grapefruit factory, not the grapefruit factory, between there and the old St. Joseph Road.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That water that keeps running for years now. That water keeps running there. I think they say some well it have there on the eastern. I can't remember. Success Secondary School, I think.
Success Laventille. Okay. All right. I will. I don't generally pass there, but I will. I'm sure WASA is listening. But that's definitely our Laventille Corporation. But I will send it to the guys and them up there.
And you'll have a blessed day.
All right.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning again, gentlemen.
Hi.
I want to hear one voice answer me.
Yeah, go ahead, Zena. Morning.
Where's Richard?
Richard and Paul is temporarily off.
All right, I'll call back when they're on, because I want to talk to Richard.
No problem.
Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Okay, moving on. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Mhm.
There is a lot of people sitting down in office saying they have documents, there's engineer, they have book sense and no common sense. Wendell, the people that come up for election every 5 years in an area, what is the correct name for them? I just call them representative. What is the correct name?
Candidates.
Candidate. Who is in charge of these candidates?
The political party that they seek to represent.
So if nobody, I don't see anybody until it is election time, who to go to for these people. They don't even, the person who representing my street don't even know how much elderly here, how much children, how the street is. No, so
Are we talking local government or central government, Ms. Sampson?
I don't know whosoever does pass every 5 years. My street don't see anybody until every 5 years.
But
Yeah,
every
I think
5
you and a
years,
lot of people throughout the country could say this.
every 5 years would be the candidate for central government. Every 3 years would be the candidate for local government.
Right, well, I don't even, well, forget local government. We don't see nobody when it's that time at all. But what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, why these people are getting paid and not working, the country needs cleaning, and they're supposed to put a little act, people supposed to be charged for throwing. If you pass by San Fernando Market right now, it have rubbish outside. When I talk to the mayor, well, he stopped taking calls from me now. He angry with me because I pointing out things that he not doing. You can't
When
even go
you,
to
well,
market
Miss
where
Sampson, Miss Sampson, Miss Sampson, the person who comment to you asking you for your vote, they are ultimately not responsible for what you're describing. That issue of cleaning street and picking up the garbage and thing, whilst that person will represent your interests in terms of getting it done, they are not ultimately responsible. There are people being paid on a fortnightly and monthly basis to do this work. Those are the people that need to be held accountable. And those people are only, they're not answerable to the politicians. They are answerable to the chief executive officer in their municipality. That's the conundrum that we face in this country all the time.
Yeah.
We blame the people who come before us and ask us for a vote, when in truth and in fact, they're not responsible. That's my take on it. I know a lot of people will differ with that and say, well, you come and ask me for your vote, you have a right to get it done. But a good politician will ensure that the people at least get the message across so the people could do their job. But at the end of the day, a CEO could say to hell with you, a laborer could say to hell with you, you get away from me. I here for the next 30 years, you only here for 3 or 5. That's what they sometimes encounter.
Wendell, I'm waiting 25 years for a turning point. 25 years. Remember the 9-year drain? And I'm
Yes.
waiting 5 years, a wall due to fall. Since before COVID, I'm complaining to everybody, the mayor, the engineer, nobody doing anything in San Fernando.
Well, when that time comes,
For a turning point.
and that's what elections is all about, is who's going to make your life and surroundings a better place.
Yes, but if you're in charge of an area, that is how I think. If your pass put some people to check until the COVID pass,
Well,
nobody even pass
the
until
supervisors and the managers will ultimately be held responsible,
they're getting paid,
but
but they're not working.
look yesterday, thanks, Miss Sampson. Look, yesterday I passed on the Eastern Main Road, and I came down that road by Wassa, Farm Road, and right in the middle of the priority bus road, they're fixing a leak. No lie. They probably had about 10 people there, everybody looking, one person working. The Wassa guys, Wassa guy was directing traffic, while the two police women were on the side on their phones. And I'm saying, this place ain't going anywhere fast enough. Nowhere fast enough. Good morning.
Steve, I want to ask Wendell a question there. Wendell,
Yes, Ms. Zina.
explain this political situation in Tobago, because I'm trying to understand is the where EBC is concerned, is it PDP that is still the political party there?
PDP, yes, it is.
It's still the party representing Tobago as far as EBC is concerned.
I think so. Tobago Act is a little different there, Zina. I'll be honest with you. I'm not very familiar with it.
Because, it is so confusing because Duke is still with them, but he is still PDP. Not so, and he just resigned the position as chief sec, but he's still representing Roxborough, Delaford, or wherever.
Yeah, he resigned as deputy chief sec. Yeah.
Right. But So this is what I'm asking. So we have one person, according to EBC, still representing that party. You have 13 independents now, just became independents. So when they formed that party, I could see why Dr. Rowley asked him for an election, you know.
Yeah.
Because all they're going to be carrying a new name now, but all they are, according to the eyes of the EBC, all they are independents.
Exactly. That party didn't get any mandate.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
So could they expect for the time that is left before the election, could they genuinely expect and feel that it is right in the eyes of the let us say Lord, then don't mind it, or he can't force all you to resign. But them of themselves, for good governance, they can't see that they should go back to the polls.
I think, Zina, and this is Zina, I think, and I don't have any evidence to support what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I think that Dr. Rowley is signaling to Fali and them that under the government, the central government, and the rules that there is something that could be done once they go under another party, on a party name. I think that's the signal that's being sent to them.
And people getting him all wrong because you see they're trying to just mess up things, and then as he rightly said, and I am saying, I can't remember the exact words he said. How could they be still funneling money to the THA, to all those independents? Who is really answerable to you don't have a party, everybody independent. So this is what I want to know. How they really feel that governance could work.
Yeah. I think he's signaling something bigger.
And then you realize from his behavior last week when the works people there, the office now.
The licensing
they're doing licensing. And how they talk, it feels that people there feel that nobody should come to Tobago and do anything and tell them anything. But I want to remind them that it is still Trinidad and Tobago. You have a central government. So they operated like they have full autonomy of the island. You understand what I mean? Like they operating like the CC then. This is my feeling. They have to come back to reality. And somebody has to make them understand that. What is the rule and function and how they have to behave. Well, because I see chaos, it is already chaotic, and I can't see it getting any better. So they better listen to Dr. Rowley, who is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Right. I don't think Dr. Rowley would have said what he said with some underlying meaning. I think he is signaling a bigger picture that once they go in that THA now and sit in that assembly as members of a TPP, a party that was never formed and voted into office, they're going to run into problems. I think that's what he's signaling. That's my opinion. That is that people. I have no facts to support that, no information to support what I'm saying. That's how I read it. You understand? Because Dr. Rowley has not said anything on this matter before. He has stayed clear of it, and especially as they were independents, because I think the THA Act allowed them to remain independent. But once they go under a political party's umbrella and you go and sit inside of there now under TPP, then we might have a different thing coming. So let's wait and see.
Morning.
Yeah, morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, Wendell. So you got a chance to look at what I told you?
Which one?
In Charlotte Street.
No, I didn't go in Charlotte Street. Sorry.
You didn't get a chance. Okay, all right. Wendell, what you are saying is so true. I mean, the MPs and whatever, yes, there's complaint, we put them in office, we voted for them, whatever. But if the MP have no right, I mean, and then thing people go say they're micromanaging, they're interfering. This is what you have. CEOs, you have managers. God. I just try to understand this country operating like on autopilot, because you can't tell me people in offices, whether it's ministries, state enterprises, and they are not accountable, it seems, to nobody. Because I cannot understand. Okay, we have, remember that street that brings you into the market from when you come off the priority or when you come from off the highway and you turn in the back. I park there and go in the back and park. And you telling me that area flooding for so many years and we have an engineer in City Hall not seeing that? Come on, this thing is crazy. I dropped down right now under my car shaking. And I wish when you damage your car, you could sue and get compensation, you know. A lady tell me she bust her tire trying to go across from, you know, when you come out the market and to go to get to the Eastern Main Road. She couldn't even, it had water in the hole, so she couldn't tell how deep it is. My God, why it is people in authority just not come to Chuck Gordon, the Massin. Nobody, like, everybody could do what they want, come to Ronnie McIntosh, do what you want, and nobody could say anything. People could go to, that's why people, they say, our government work, you know. That is the talk, especially with some of the youths now. They want a government work because you could then go to work and you're sure you're getting your fortnight pay or your month pay because nobody. No, I worked in a ministry where people running away. You see how it was a holiday? Friday, if the holiday is Thursday, Friday, Thursday, they're taking half day, so they're getting a day and a half. And you as a supervisor, you are paying to supervise your staff, and your half of your staff gone, lunchtime, and then you go say, wait, I come and I meet it, so why I must be the one to bell the cat? I meet it so and I go leave it so, and that is what goes on. Everybody come in, get in the supervisory post, and they're afraid to talk to the staff. So the nonsense. So people will continue going to ministries, can't get service. Oh God, don't talk about that probate department. That I experienced that trying to do my father's letter of administration, and the clerk gone 2:30 and talking. You know, there's a thing people they say when you go to some government office and you ask for certain people, they're in the washroom. They just be in the washroom. But when the guy tell me that, I know the drill. I know that in washroom talk, and that clerk must was down in City Gate in a maxi heading wherever. And it keep going on. Nobody's accountable. So the nonsense, and I say it every day, we only changing the guards because we keep changing the politicians, and those who come, the beat goes on. Gordon Draper tried to turn around the public service and then he half kill him. Yeah? So we like it, so we like how government come, government go. And you could go in a ministry and they keep telling, come back. They could deal it with it, you know. Come back next week. Why is that? That needs to stop.
Let me tell you, let me give you two examples, Ms. Diego Martin, and the listeners.
Yes.
I will never forget a year we were in regional coordinating meeting. That's when the council will meet with WASA, HDC, TNTech, all the agencies, Ministry of Works and whatnot. And the issue was the flooding downtown Port of Spain and why the pump wasn't being turned on. We found out in that meeting that the man responsible for turning on the pump lives in Sangre Grande. If you remember, the weather pattern was that it would be sun in the morning and by midday, the clouds will have
No, Wendell, my question to you is, who is his supervisor or manager?
No, wait, let me finish the story. Let me finish.
Go
Because
ahead,
that is the issue that a lot of these agencies face, a lot of these public servants face. He is living in Grandy, so by mid-morning he gone, sun shining, you know.
What?
But guess what?
I mean he gone.
I mean how he gone? You know how public servants operate sometimes. He gone.
Lord,
So when the place started to flood, the pump wasn't going on, and we found out. But wait now, this man live in Grandy. We were told that in a meeting that the man live in Grandy. And guess what? The corporation sometimes decided to send home staff early because you know why? Everybody live in central, south, and deep south.
And in the east, yeah. So why no, you know, is my next question, Wendell. Why is it we always have in the government service one person doing something? So when that one person ain't come to work, that whole system, things shut down. Why? You ever go to the bank and you go to a loans officer, they do a thing, and when you go back to thing, they say, oh, she did not come out to work today. That never happened.
No, that is irritate me.
They wouldn't have one loans officer. Why we have to be doing that? And that's why I told Marvin Gonzalez, when these areas that not having water, they cutting off. I am saying it, the water workers are working in conjunction with the water truck delivery. I saying it because Marvin Gonzalez experienced it when they shut off, they seal off, just like what they do in the Prime Minister's residence, seal off the valve so truck water supply will come. They did it up in Chancellor. Marvin Gonzalez said it on this radio station a morning when he go up there with a supervisor and they find the valves shut off and it had two $5,000 tank up Chancellor. Come on, man, all year. Do some serious investigation. These water workers can be pulling wool. And I told him, I say, they always say, the people who never see a school door or never sit down in a secondary school door, this con, all you with all your master's degree and doctorate. Marvin Gonzalez, I tell him that. So all who going through problems, so all you go and check out them valves and see if it is seal off. Have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Dago Martin. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. One of the beauty of in a democracy is the ability to participate in a lot of issues, right? And this interesting scenario here with the Tobago House of Assembly, with the Chief Secretary stance in terms of forming a set of independents and forming a party after the fact that you have been elected into the post, right? A lot of people lose the argument or the focus on the discussion because while it is not illegal for they doing what they do, right, you also have to take into consideration the ethical view of it. And those individuals can't say for certain that 100% of the persons who voted for them under the mandate of the PDP, right, voted for them solely. So to hold the argument that you stay within office and then after forming a party, for me, is a bit kind of cheating the electorate itself, right? And you can't perceive yourself as being ethical and holding yourself within that office without some form of scrutiny. And I think that is where the Prime Minister has raised the issue. And quite surprising that this takes so long for it to be aired publicly, right? And it takes the Prime Minister to bring forward the argument for us to focus on it. And I can't say for certain whether it is that this set of individuals have achieved anything since they have been elected into office, but they seem to have a lot of misstep, a misunderstanding as to their role and portfolio, and a misunderstanding between the central government authority. Because I can't see you arguing and make the argument that licensed officers, there's a distinction between licensed officers on Trinidad and licensed officers on Tobago, because there's only one commissioner of license, the license department, and he have reign over that, right? The same thing applied to the EMA and for other things that were raised, and they seem to be flying under the radar, and no one is criticizing or critiquing them, right? And these things could lead to, if it don't address it now, it could lead to further embarrassment, not just for Tobago, but for Trinidad also, because you have international persons and you have relationship with other stakeholders internationally too, right? So I'm glad now that it's been raised, and hopefully some good will come out of it. And I say that it gives my part of the contribution to this discussion. So.
All right. Thank you so much. 222-8255, 612-8255. Toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's our numbers directly into our studio. So Charles is already in the building. To take you through your sappy Mondays. That's what he called Mondays, sappy Mondays. Yeah, I should start them off. I don't know what to play. I'll find a song. Yeah. All right, so we'll take some of your calls. I don't know where Paul disappeared to. I don't know where Richard disappeared to.
I'm right here.
Okay, you haven't said anything for the last hour, so I was wondering.
That's not true. That is a very inaccurate statement. The last hour would mean I haven't said anything since 7:44. That's not true.
All
I haven't
right.
said anything for the last half an hour.
What's that? Sorry, guys. I kind of muted because I was dealing with a situation on the phone for temporarily.
What's going on?
Everything's going on. Everything's going on.